Hello. What up? How are you, man? Pretty good. I figured I was just like, well, I'm gonna be live tomorrow anyway, so I just gave myself a day and just it was relaxing, refreshing. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, it's we've all been waiting for it. Um, so yeah, you know. Apparently, yeah, apparently there's some shit that's like leaking on 4chan, which, every time that happens, take that, with a grain of salt. Um, ah, okay, yeah, yeah. I don't know. If that is if what they were saying, what that is true, I'm gonna be a little bummed because I'm not necessarily looking for them to just reskin the exact same map, but who knows? I don't know. Oh, I didn't even actually see that. Maybe, okay, that's interesting. Oh, God, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I'm I'm ready to jam. Okay, let me get popped in. We're just gonna do the usual password. Okay, and we're doing meta. Oh wow, dirty, dirty, dirty.
All
It's okay.
right.
I'm a 138. That's my favorite flavor of meta.
Oh, so you know that one level that I have above you is actually probably going to really work to my advantage
That's true.
while we're on the same team.
Right, right. Yeah, it's generally how that goes.
Yeah. So how I was thinking this is going to go is we're going to have a rule where unless it's like detrimental to the run, like picking up signs, stuff like that, like we're not allowed to actually talk about what's going on in the run. We got to kind of stay in kind of like a talk show kind of mode, you know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And I'm going to be asking you some really, really hard hitting questions
Okay.
about,
All right.
mostly, at the start, I was thinking kind of going over some Elden Ring stuff, some Souls stuff, some Twitch stuff, kind of get that out of the way. And then we'll move on from there.
Sure. Sounds like a plan. Are we live right now? Or Kat says still can hear Montage talking about ER so
Yeah, we are. We
seems
are
like we
live.
are.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Let me,
I should have warned you.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm heading over to Ellen now. We'll be there.
I've never done this before. All right, brand new to having people hear my voice.
Well, I'm happy to be your first guinea pig in all of this.
Oh, I'm happy to have you. I was excited when you said you wanted to do it. I was like, wow, this might work out.
Yeah. I just put down a red sign, so good
Oh,
start for
GG's.
me.
GG's.
GG's, yeah, yeah. All right, we're good now. And then change that up.
Yeah, and then we'll actually start once we kind of get rolling on
Okay.
this. Because I gotta like
Sounds
rethink
good.
everything that I was gonna actually ask because now I'm live.
There is no pressure with me, man. You know me, I can talk about my favorite type of seagull, and
Well, to get things rolling, actually, what are you sipping on tonight?
ooh. So, right now I'm doing the classic. I'm a bit of a classic man. I'm a I'm actually I switch between two. I'm a Coors Banquet and a Miller High Life guy.
Okay, see, I bought Coors Banquet just for the occasion. Because
Yes.
I assumed that's what you would be having, you know?
Yeah. I have one more Coors Banquet. It's really just a matter of, like, myself and my roommates, we all just, every time we run out, whoever the next person that goes to the grocery store is just gets the next 30 rack, and then we go through that, and then it's just, you know, it's kind of like pulling straws, but it's really, and here's the thing, it's kind of like a game, right? It's like, sure, some people may not be the one to, they don't want to step up and buy the 30 rack, right?
Right,
But, right, but that's the thing, is that you have to fight between not eating food and buying the 30 rack. So it's kind of, there's some tech there. There's definitely some tech there.
You know, personally, I think I would just take buying the 30 rack over not eating food.
I usually end up doing that because I'm a good landlord, part of the bourgeoisie.
Yeah, yeah. part of the ruling class, huh? Up in your ivory tower.
Exactly. Yeah. But here's the thing: I give back to the lowly peasants, so that must count for something, right?
All right, and in what way do you give back to the lowly peasants? Can you get into some specifics?
I think I've bought about 70% of the community 30 racks.
You know what? I think I would take that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good number.
I'd say that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
All right, to start things off, would you care to kind of like share a few things about yourself that people here definitely don't know? Is there anything that you have kept hidden from your Twitch following?
Man, I feel like I'm the worst person to ask that question to, because if anything, one way to describe me as an individual is that I overshare, if anything, you know? So, something that they don't know. Gosh, I even, like, include my bowel movements and everything.
You got your social security out there, like,
yeah,
just chilling on your screen.
I'll do like a quick little bio. How about that? For anyone that doesn't know, that isn't necessarily like a regular in my stream. So I hail from the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, the greatest state in all 50 of the United States. And a lot of people would disagree with me on that take, and that's fine. You can just simply be wrong. The Midwest is truly a beautiful, wonderful state. Sure, maybe nothing happens there, but you know what? Damn it, that's my home, and I'm cool, and I like that. But I'm from the goofy meme state, Ohio, and I have just one other sibling, and I grew up in this situation to where my parents, basically, my mom specifically worked in a situation to where I always had to have the best face on as a kid, and now that I'm a big boy, I'm grown up, I'm out, I you know, homeowner and all this other stuff, I finally am settled down to the point where I can start a stream, and all of that pent up me wanting to just be the kid that I feel like the childhood that I never got has just basically come out in streaming, and that's why people are like, this guy, his decibels are, you know, too high, and talks too fast, stuff like that.
Who is saying that? I don't know anyone who says that.
Yeah. Just a couple, one or two, you know.
They kind of sound to me like people I don't really want to associate with.
Yeah.
Personally, if there's anyone here right now who believes these things, I ask you kindly to leave. That would be cool.
Yeah. And yeah, so that's pretty much what me and my stream is about. I guess one other thing I would add on top of that is one of the things that I really care about on my stream that I don't always bring a lot of attention to, but it's always in my titles and stuff, is just like mental health. Not to like bring things on like a somber note or anything like that.
Go for it.
But that's something that's I I've always used like YouTube and Twitch and just like any form of media, whether it's doom scrolling on Twitter, whatever it is. Like I've always used the internet as a means for where if I'm ever like not in a great place mentally in life, I can at least use these things as like a useful distraction.
Right. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and I just grew up like watching like all of these like just these content creators like the PewDiePies, the like Machinima back in the day, just all of this gaming related content because that's always just been a thing in my life as one of those things. And again, being a streamer now, it's one of those things where it's just like, you know, if I can just be that person that we can all laugh with, laugh at. Usually it's the latter, given the way life has gone. You know, that's a joy for me. That's why I like streaming. I like being able to remind people that all this shit is just fun. It's a joke. It's meant there to be fun. It's enjoyment. And
I like what you said. A useful distraction. I think that's a good way to put it.
yeah, it's I mean, because here's the thing. Whether or not anyone wants to admit it or not, what we're doing is to a lot people would say, well, that's a waste of time, right?
Hey, you sound like my dad.
Exactly. Our parents' generation would definitely like to make that argument. And whether or not they're right or wrong, I'm not here to debate those politics. But what I will say is, like, look, if you're gonna do it, you know, maybe do it in a way that's helpful in a way, you know, try to utilize that tool in a good way. You know?
Right. No, I like that. And actually touching on the what you said a little bit back about you know, maybe people not being so nice, you know, on Twitch and stuff. If you don't mind, like, we go into that a little bit, because it kind of has become like a staple of your stream that people just kind of go into your chat to abuse you, both verbally, mentally, sometimes in game if they can. Although you are a pretty solid player, so they may try. Did this start like when you started streaming, or is it more of a recent development? And is it something that you expected or didn't expect and had to adapt to?
I would say some of it is by... So that's an interesting question for a couple reasons. So you mentioned about like, yeah, it's become like this thing where it's it's become this thing that's like it's just like almost what I'm known for and stuff. It was actually funny. I had somebody it was Stowe actually. He's like, you need to make one of your tags PvP enabled chat, because that's truly what it is. It's always just a battle in there, and I'm fighting for my life.
Right. Yeah. Keeping your head above water. Right.
Yeah. So going back to your question is like, did I see that coming? I will say some of it is by design for sure. So like, I call like my viewers like the rat gang, and I refer to like my viewers as rats and shit like that, which is like, you know, not the nicest thing you can call someone.
No.
and so like I was like, before I started stream, I was asking myself, I'm like, what if I am to envision what an average Montage viewer is to be like, what would I say? And it was like goblins, rats. It was something that was just, you know, generally viewed at as a negative thing, because I was like, the quality of life of people that have watched my streams, it can't be that high. It just can't, knowing me, you know, because of that. So no, but jokes aside on that though, yeah, like I knew it was gonna be something where I poke fun at, you know, my chat, they poke fun at me, and it's like, I knew that there was going to be some fights here and there, but I really didn't expect it to be this thing where it's like every time I show up in someone's chat, it's like, fuck this guy.
It's a little bit jarring, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it is, and yeah, so it's something that I don't mind because like I also like bait it as well. Again, like part of like going back to like the mental health thing, it's like it's a joy to me that you know that other people can like spend their evening. Maybe they had a really shit day at work and it was horrible and you know this and that or whatever. And then they get to go in there and they go into my chat room and be like, well, at least I'm not looking at a wall while TTS is ruining my life, so it could be worse, you know? And I guess I take some solace in maybe that applies to one individual, and that's happy. That's happiness for me.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Um,
It's actually a lot harder to concentrate than I thought it would be.
oh no! Trust. Yeah. But while you do that, I guess I'll just elaborate just like a second further here. Yeah, no, I think that what my chat is like one thing that you learn in improv comedy, which I will admit I'm not very good at improv comedy. It's something I'm trying to get better at. But one of like the rules of it is to say yes to everything.
Yes,
right?
and yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
and right, exactly. And so when my chat wants to be nice to me, like they'll be nice to me. When they want to be mean to be, they'll be mean to me. It's just whatever they're feeling that day, and I'm perfectly fine with either scenario, assuming I'm in a good mood, which most of the time I am. Because it's just like, all right, you know, what's the, you know, they want to go 9 rounds with Tyson. All right, I guess that's what we're doing today, you know.
Do you ever find yourself like kind of in a mood where you're like, you know, I know that this is all in fun, and I know that people are like joking, but fuck you, like. And I know that no swearing was redeemed in the chat, but I mean sometimes you just kind of have to think it or say it. I know I've been there where I'm like, I know this isn't good fun, but also like in the back of my mind, my lizard brain is going like, no, fuck this guy. Like what right does he have to say this to me, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I think something that I kind of hide behind is that like it's to me, since it's the internet, right? Like it's so hard to I'll be there in a sec. It's so hard for me to really know truly what somebody's intentions are when they're typing and shit in chat. Like for instance, like that's especially true in my chat. Like where if somebody is like I know is like, yo, fuck Montage, and I'm like, I know, we're just joking around, we're buds, right? But then somebody that comes in that I don't have that rapport with, and they say the same thing, it's like I could easily just be like, all right, dude, like get out of here. But I know that I'm like, look, this is just another potential new member of the tribe that is fitting in. So who am I to say you can't do that?
Right. But then you're also thinking like, well, are they just trying to fit in with people, or have they been lurking for a while and there's something I did that really offended them? You know, I'm not saying you think that, but maybe
some people might. Yeah, some people might be actually malicious. Yeah, I mean, I think that's like, I think if you've streamed long enough, if you're anyone that's streamed long enough, you've run into that. Someone just comes in and they want to legitimately make your life hell and make you feel bad or whatever, right? Like I knew this one person, and like a guy just it was a friend of mine, this girl, and a guy just comes into her chat and says like, your nose looks weird. First comment, right?
Jesus.
It's like, Jesus, right? Like you know, and so yeah, like some people just they're out for blood, but I'm gonna remain optimistic in that that's not what's happening, and like here's the thing, you have to prove to me that you really want to like get under my skin, and that's pretty hard to do considering I point the metaphorical target at myself all the time. So yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, like I've found with myself at least personally that I use kind of self-deprecating humor a lot, almost as like a defense mechanism against that, where it's like, well, you're trying to make fun of me, but I'm gonna make fun of myself harder, and then you're gonna feel real silly, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah. It's like, what are you gonna do to that? I had to restart.
yeah.
Yeah, like you know. So, to me, it's like I don't really view people, especially like the overly negative ones, as people that are like actual ill will. And even if they are, it's like, damn, your life must suck. And I genuinely hope that you get better and you know whatever it is. And
See, I was
that's
gonna,
that.
I was gonna full stop you there and be like, "Oh wow, you don't view negative people as people, huh?" You know, that's where I thought you were going with that, and I was like, "Yeah, I totally agree." No,
Some people look at it that way. You know what? More power to you. You know, that's whatever. Like, because you have the opportunity to, you know, like I couldn't like someone that doesn't have that kind of a head on their shoulders. Like, I can't imagine spending a day, like a week, and being like streaming from my stream key as me. Like, that must suck. So it's like I kind of have to regardless, but also again, it's something I welcome. So yeah.
all right, so I'm gonna get into a little bit of a different course
Sure.
from talking about streaming. So I actually heard like a really interesting rumor about you. About something that happened in like 2018. I heard that the real Nick drowned in the Ohio River, and that you are a lookalike hired by the Russians to take his place to destroy freedom. Do you have anything to say about these allegations?
Yeah, so yeah, there is a in 2018 there was just an incredibly like century-defining flood that happened in Ohio, more specifically in Cincinnati. And it had the Ohio River, which, if you don't know, like Cincinnati sits like right on the Ohio River. It had floodwaters like all the way up to like into the city streets essentially. And I was doing okay, so I'm really into photography, right? And I was wanted to just go see the floodwaters with my friends. And I sort of played a game of What Are the Odds with a buddy of mine. And if you're not familiar with What Are the Odds, it's essentially, for anyone that may not know what it is. What Are the Odds is when you have 3 people present. You can do it with 2, but it's a lot more gentleman-like with 3. Where you say, what are the odds, and then you throw out a dare. And depending on how severe the dare is, you'll make your number bigger or smaller. So if it's a crazier dare, you'll make it bigger. So in my case, it was, what are the odds you go swim in those record floodwaters that are happening right now? And I said 1 in 100, because I know that swimming in floodwaters is kind of dangerous. To what degree, I don't really know.
I mean,
but I know it's not
the
healthy.
liberal media will tell you that you could drown, but where are they getting their facts?
You can get Legionnaire's disease, all of these quirky stuff that they've made up. You know how it is. Yeah, so I did What Are the Odds, and I didn't pick an easy number, because also one of the things with What Are the Odds is you never pick a number in the middle, because the chances are higher. You have just pick one towards the beginning or the end. So I did What Are the Odds 1 through 100, and I think the number that we landed on was 17. And so how it works is one person challenges, one person says this is the number, then the third person counts down from 3. Third dude counts down from 3, and then boom. Both me and the other guy, we say 17. I'm like, son of a bitch. Okay, well, I guess I'm getting in these waters. So I get into the waters, and I do like a couple backstrokes for about like 9 seconds in there. There was a beaver that was swimming next to me. It was pretty cool. And I have my buddy take a picture of it or a video of it on his phone. Whatever. He sends it to me. I throw it up on Twitter.
Did you get pictures of the beaver? I
No.
kind of want to see the beaver.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I should have. I should have though. But yeah. So I did all of that, and the next morning, the lead, the head editor of the Cincinnati Enquirer, which is not like the normal Enquirer, like it's like an actual like legit publication here. The head editor was just like, "Hey, can we do an interview with you in your floodwaters?" And I was like, "What?" And so, and anyway. Anyways, they asked me to do an interview, and long story short, they ran an interview with me, and I like gave them the most ridiculous interview of their life, essentially. I was like, all right, like you can't run the story unless you call me Nick, and then I would give them a an absurd middle name. I was like, you have to call me like Nick, the People's Champ Montage. You can't run the story unless you call me Nick, local legend Montage, right? Because it was a stupid story. Like it was a slow news day, obviously, and for some reason, you know, they wanted to interview me. So anyways, the first one goes viral. Then every other news station in the area, they interview me as well. And then it got to the point where it wasn't even like a statewide or a citywide story. It was a statewide story. And then it became national news. I got interviewed by CNN. And then I got asked for an interview. One reporting publication was from Japan. Another one was from Sweden. So it was to answer your story there, because I know I ramble a little bit. Yeah, I did drown, and I am a synth.
And you are a synth. Okay, so it's Montage, or should I say, it's espionage.
Mm-hmm.
The freedom-hating Russian synth.
Yes. Yeah, that's
all factual.
Yeah, I think communism is PogChamp, and I think democracy is not PogChamp.
Wow, daring words. All right, moving on from that, I have a really, 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 really important question to ask that I don't think that I know the answer to. And I don't think many people here do, because, I mean, you did say you're an open book, and the answer to this question I've been thinking about for a long time, trying to get to the bottom of it, and it kind of proves to me that you're not as open as you say you are, and I'm wondering why you've held it secret.
Okay.
What is your favorite color?
So I've changed on this a little bit. Growing up, I was a big purple guy.
Oh, no, that's interesting.
Yeah, I was huge on purple. My high school colors were red and blue, and you mix them together. You know how that goes.
Okay, creative.
Yeah. But then I moved to white. I just liked white trimming. So I played RuneScape back in the day.
Did you say white?
Yes, I know. We'll get into that.
Okay.
So I was a big fan of white because I played RuneScape back in the day, and my favorite RuneScape god was Saradomin, and his RuneScape rune armor was white trimmed, and I thought he had the coolest armor, and all of his stuff was like white and blue, and I was like, that's sick. So I was a big white guy for a second, and then
you were a big white guy for a second.
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, so anyway. Then I grew up, my taste matured, and I became a black guy. So, what happened? Well, okay. That doesn't need to be clipped out of context.
No, don't. No.
Yeah.
Ronan isn't here, so
Yeah, right, true. But no, my taste changed, and I learned that as a skinny white dude, I look pretty good in black. And also as a skinny white dude who kind of has a bit of a dad bod rocking, black really covers that up. And I thought that was sick.
Oh,
And
I
also
100% agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Part of the repressed childhood thing also, wasn't allowed to wear black. I didn't want to send a message that I was goth or anything to anyone.
Oh, heaven forbid.
Secretly, I was listening to NCR and some but don't tell my mom, that would be unholy,
Well, do I have a surprise for you? Mrs. Montage, do you want to say hello? Oh, wait. That's actually interesting to me, because I grew up with some amount of rules that people would consider ludicrous, but I have never heard a rule like you're not allowed to wear black.
Yeah, I couldn't wear too much black because that would have sent a message, that I was a bit of an unruly child,
I mean, honestly, when I go down the street and I see a kid dressed in black, I kind of cross to the other side of the street, and I'm like, I don't want to fuck with that kid, He might have a knife on him or something. He's gonna try and rob me, take my wallet.
That's true.
Which actually,
Very true.
to deal with that, that's why I started carrying around a decoy wallet. Works every time.
It's genius.
So I actually wasn't expecting such a rich answer to that question. I'm glad you provided. And you said that you're not good at improv.
I mean, is it really improv if I'm just, recollecting, right?
I mean, for me it is, because I'm also a synth and I don't have memories implanted, so I kind of got to think off the top of my head.
Oh, well, yeah. See, I talked to that one bubble bitch from Blade Runner, so I'm chilling. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, all right. Getting on to since you're talking about your childhood and stuff, let's talk about first game you ever played that made you, maybe not first game you ever played, but what was the game that stuck out to you as making you fall in love with playing video games?
Yeah. I would give 3 answers to that. So, and the reason I'm kind of spreading it out is because they all kind of meant something a little different. So, first game I ever played was Pokemon on the Game Boy, right? But that was whatever. Every kid liked Pokemon back in the day. It didn't really capture me. It wasn't until I think the first game that captured me to make me really think that there was just something more to the medium of video games. That was I would probably say that was RuneScape, actually. And I think RuneScape it's funny because I don't play the game and it's actually still a very live game today. But actually I think RuneScape's a big part of the reason why I also like Souls and Elden Ring and stuff like that, but I'll get can get into that later if you wanted. But basically, yeah, it was an MMO, and immediately right off the bat, I was really interested in PKing people, player kill. So you go to the wilderness. That's where player killing was active.
Is it bad that when you said PKing people, I was thinking Pontiff Knight, right off, that's the only thing I thought of, and I was like, man, they had that in RuneScape, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, well, close. I mean, the Wilderness Edge, that basically was the Pontiff. Right next to Varrock, with the Wilderness Edge, that was Pontiff, essentially. Back in the day, back in, 06 and, whatever, 05 when I was playing it. So, I liked that a lot for a while. I'd play that with my friends. But then I think what really made me a gamer was I would say it was Halo 3. Halo 3 that was really outside of RuneScape, that was the first real online game that I would play. It was like I was very competitive in it. You know what's funny is dang it JM actually. He called me out yesterday or 2 days ago. We were talking about like we were trying to get a little competitive nature in on this, and we're like, yeah, JM never shit talks, and he goes, well, I'll shit talk on games that I'm good at. He's like, Montage is a chump at Halo. And I was like, oh,
damn.
Oh really? Okay, I'm a chump at Halo, huh? And I was like, 1v1 me Guardian. That's what we did on Halo 3 back in the day, is 1v1 me Guardian. Prove your mettle, big man. And I think I ended up beating him 25 to 14, 15. Yeah, so...
Wait,
basically...
25-14?
Yeah. That was the final score.
Damn, okay. So not quite the chump.
Yeah, not quite the chump that he said I was, because that was it. And I remember just doing ranked back in the day, doing goofy stuff in that game, like using the mongoose with a brute shot to like fly off mountains and shit.
I remember doing that. Yeah.
yeah. It was like that. I loved that. Like every aspect of Halo just like captured me as like a gamer. It was like you had the competitive aspect of it. You then of course you had the casual aspect of it, and then you could do Forge. There was a bunch. There was Forge. It was good.
See, that was my bread and butter. Yeah, it was Forge.
Yeah, and like there was something really for everyone, and so. That I think it's either that game or RuneScape is what I have the most clocked hours in on like in total for a video game easily. But then the third and final game that like really captured me as a gamer was Fallout 3. That was like my first true sandbox game that I played. After getting an Xbox 360, yeah, that was my first true sandbox game, and that was like, I just remember like sitting there, and I'm like, hey, I don't like you, guy, and then you could blow you could pin, like, you could take a railway rifle and pin someone's head to a fucking wall. I was like, that's crazy that this video game lets me have this kind of freedom and choice, and I'm like, this is like, this whole world is like, it's just my sandbox, and I can do whatever I want in it. And I think between those three games, the community aspect of RuneScape, the competitive aspect of Halo, and just like the awe of like walking through a world and enjoying just chilling and making your own adventure of Fallout 3, like between those three, that's like really, I think, what made me a gamer. And I apologize if my answers are super fucking long, but
Oh no, I am appreciating that. And honestly, what you say about Fallout 3 is really indicative of my experience with gaming, where just like playing Fallout 3 for the first time, coming out onto that vista when you first leave the vault, and just realizing how massive this game was, and being like, oh, I could go anywhere. And then like at first I was kind of overwhelmed. Because I was like, where do I go? Like, I could follow the quest, but that's boring. And I always thought, like, oh, if I don't stay on the beaten path, like, maybe I can, find something cool that the devs hit around here. If I decide to maybe stray a little bit. And then I ended up, like, running into shit that I was not prepared for and dying and then getting lost, and it all made for just an amazing first playthrough.
Yeah, there's just like I played the game as like intended with like the main story quest and the pathing that comes from there, but I just remember doing like another playthrough, and I'm like, oh, I don't have to actually do that again. I could just go backwards and see what happens if I do that, Right,
yeah, and that's always been something that's kind of sad to me about those games, is that first playthrough is usually just such an amazing experience that you're then like never able to replicate again.
Yeah, yeah, and it's the same thing. I mean, another game is very similar in that any RPG game is similar in that way. Like your first your first experience with it is something truly magical. Same thing with Skyrim. Same thing with I mean, literally name any game at that point. It's your first one when you don't know what's happening, you don't know what to expect. There's just something magical about it, and since Fallout 3 just happened, like, Fallout 3 could have easily been New Vegas or Skyrim or whatever. That just happened to be the first one that showed me that I was like, hey, I can do that.
And I've always been a little bit jealous of the people who got introduced to like Bethesda games through either Morrowind or Daggerfall.
Yeah.
Because trying out those games later in life, you know, after, you know, doing Oblivion and Skyrim and Fallout 3 and New Vegas, dude, I cannot get past the cliff. Hearing stories from people who started off with either like Daggerfall or Morrowind, it always made the game just sound so incredible. And then, like, the few times that I've tried to go back and play those games, I'm like, I don't have the rose-tinted glasses of nostalgia to filter this game through, and so it just falls flat for me.
I haven't. I went back and played Oblivion, and I was like, I think I like Fallout 3 more, but I can see why people are like, this is a masterpiece. And I can also see why people say Fallout 3 sucks. Like, I get it, you know? Yeah, I mean, people that grew up with that. I mean, you still have people that will, like, defend Morrowind, like, over Skyrim. And I don't know. I just feel like if you're being unbiased, you know, there's a little bit more to offer in the newer game, but at the same time, like, who am I to take that experience away from them and whatever magic that brought them, you know?
Well, and absolutely, like, Morrowind does have very robust systems in it that they ended up streamlining for later titles. And I've heard the criticism of Bethesda that they kind of water down the RPG elements and different like mechanics a little bit more every game. I think that's a valid criticism.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
But I also think that that's kind of a symptom of mass commercialism with gaming in general. You know.
Yeah, I mean, like, just bringing it back to like Fallout, right? Like that's like what they did. Despite, like, you know, Fallout 4, technically you could do more with, like, the building and stuff like that. It's universally among Fallout fans that it's, like, their least favorite one, you know? So, yeah, it's a good point that you bring that up.
And honestly, Fallout 4, that was when I got into modding and trying out mods and stuff. And I think that definitely breathes new life into that game.
Oh, sure.
But moving on, I do want to ask you, like, would you say that gaming has, like, impacted your life as a whole? Like, going, especially from those first 3 games, do you think that you would be the same person that you are now if you didn't find those games so young?
I really don't know what I would be like, because the thing about gaming is it's like I almost kind of didn't really have a choice. Like, obviously I did, but what I mean by that is like, so I grew up in a like a private lane neighborhood, and before anyone makes any assumptions, it was a completely middle class. It was not like a rich boy thing or anything like that. It just happened to not have a lot of neighbors. But I only had like 4 neighbors, and none of the kids in my neighborhood were anywhere near me. Closest age like difference was like 7 years, both up and down. I just didn't have anyone that was you know, near me that I could have like a friend in my neighborhood or anything like
Right.
that. Like just go over to their house and, you know, play cowboys and Indians or, you know, like whatever the fuck, like whatever the stuff that like you do in, you know, suburban America, right? I just
Right.
didn't have that experience. I couldn't go ride bikes with my friends and stuff like that. So what happened was the way that I would and then also like to that was if I did want to go hang with a friend like from school or something like that, I didn't live in my school district. And so my closest friends that I had at school was 30 minutes away. And when you're a parent, you have to think about that, right? When you're a parent, we're good. When you're a parent, you know, you wanna your kid's closest friend's 30 minutes away. Well, guess what? You know, you have an 8-hour workday, and then you come home and your kid wants to go hang out with his friend. Well, that's 30 minutes to go take him to his friend after your 8-hour long workday. And that's 30 minutes drive home to hang out for a few hours. And then it's a 30 minutes drive back to said friend to pick up your kid, and then 30 minutes back home. That's 2 extra hours out of your day that you have to kill just for me to go hang out with somebody else for like a couple hours, right? So, as you could obviously imagine, that never happened. I didn't really have that option either. I just didn't have friends I could be with. And so, what did I do? I had all this time to myself. I had no friends in my neighborhood. My brother at the time was not an amazing older brother, didn't play with me. I had nobody, and the only way that I could keep in contact with other people, like just maintain any type of friendship, was by playing video games. And, you know, before I got like a console, like an Xbox, it was RuneScape on the family home computer, and, you know, and so, again, I don't know, like long roundabout way of answering it, but yeah, it almost feels like in a weird way I just didn't have a choice. Like put yourself in my shoes. Like, what else are you gonna do? Like, I guess I could become a massive introvert and just, you know, read books and stuff. And let's be 100% honest here, that probably would have been a smarter option to do. But
No, I mean not necessarily, because like as much as you could say that like spending all your time reading is healthy in a way, like at least mentally.
yeah.
Or I don't know. I don't think that it's necessarily a healthy thing to never socialize because of the situation that you're in. Like
That's true, yeah. And the alternative is like I probably would have been like a really. I mean, let's keep it a buck. I'm not exact. People that make the argument that I'm a bit of an awkward turtle, I think have fair ammunition in their you know their metaphorical gun there. But like, man, imagine if I just never talked to anybody growing up.
Right.
Like you have to think about it. All the way up until the age of 16, when I could start driving, that and then and only then was when I could start like socializing outside of video games. So first 16 years of my life was just it was all I could do was video games, really, or that's how it felt like it. So I can't even imagine myself without it. And like, again, that kind of goes back to an earlier point. It was that, yeah, I since I did have like a lot of downtime to myself and my thoughts, like some days were great, some days were average, some days weren't great. And on those days that weren't great, I was like, damn, I was so thankful to have this thing that could just keep me occupied because I had nothing else that I could do.
Right, yeah. No, and I'm kind of in a similar boat. I went to a private school in elementary school, so it was the same thing. 30 minutes to 45 minutes, you know, to go see a friend. The only friends I had on my block were up the street, and I didn't get along with them very well, so it was like, I totally feel where you're coming from with that. So it kind of makes sense that we both gravitated towards a medium like video games to get our socialization through. Why can I not talk?
Yeah.
Socialization.
No. Right, and it's so interesting because like social media existed growing up. I mean, social media was already like Facebook was already a big thing by the time like Xbox Live and PlayStation Network, started becoming a thing. It's like those were already established. But it's that community around social media and influencers and stuff like that. Like kids these days, like in school, they're talking about like Mr. Beast and shit, right? Like what did he do? And or like maybe they're interested, like whatever the niche is, right? Like I'm really into like like what's going on in these rappers' lives, stuff like that, and so yeah, it's there's a more widespread ways, but I think like a lot of kids around our age, social media hadn't quite popped off. Like it was established, but it wasn't like used as this thing that was competing with television, right? That was only until like the last, I don't know,
probably the last decade, I would say.
Yeah, last decade. Yeah, definitely not like in that kind of early 2000s. I would say like 2010, 2011 maybe was when it started to get to that point. But now like you talk about that and now you talk about that and it's like yeah like dude, I'm gonna watch my streaming service. Why would I watch cable and stuff like that? So
right, because it mixes things, right?
Yeah, in our particular time, just online video games was like clearly the best option, right? If you didn't have a social life, of course.
Yeah.
Like me.
yeah. And I feel you there. Then again, I sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No. Yeah.
I always felt like I had more fun, hanging out with people online than in person because I'm not a super social person, so it's kind of nice to have an out if you feel like it. When you're online, you kind of have that.
Yeah, with video games, what's nice about most of them is like, yeah, sure, you have the online component of it, which is great. But you can also, if your friends just happen to not be online, you could still enjoy it without having your personal friends there. You could meet new people. You could play it solo, whatever it is. It was like, at the time, as far as entertainment and media goes, it was like the most versatile thing possible.
And and the thing is, like, then your parents wonder, like, why do they spend so much time on video games?
Yeah,
they could be. I always had this argument with my parents because they were like, you play too much video games, and you play with your friends too much and stuff. And I'm like, okay, but you guys are on your TV every second that you're home. You're watching TV. Sisters are on the computer every second they're home. So what's the difference?
Yeah, they your parents I think having a child is like you wanna, I feel like a lot of parents do this, like you wanna basically like all the things that you didn't get to do or you weren't good at or whatever, you want like your child to be that, right? That's why, maybe your mom or your dad, they want you to be the sports star so they could be so proud of their little Joey and all that's this and that, right? They want them to be well-mannered. Like, they want you to have a good life because they care about you, but also there's, like, a piece to it where it's just like, I want to validate me being a good parent and that you're successful. And so when you have this thing like video games where, our parents did not grow up with the internet or anything like that, obviously they're like, oh, you can't do that. It's just waste your time. It's rotting your brain, like this and this and that. I remember like growing up, all of the arguments to try to get video games out of the conversation. I mean, like everyone remembers the, like video games make you violent arguments,
Right. Yeah. And they like to throw around
still happening,
blame.
By the way. Which
of
is
course
great,
it is. Of course it is, because yeah, it's a place to throw blame that's away from their own parenting, but we don't need to get into that.
yeah. Gosh. But yeah, no, you really you spoke to me when you said I can't believe you're on this thing all the time. I had that argument with my parents all of the time, and I'm not really good with confrontation. Like when shit really hits the fan, like I even like kind of like freeze up like a goat sometimes. I still do that today, honestly. Like I like shit talking, but like when things are like actually like off, like for real, like I get really uncomfortable easily.
Oh, for sure. Me too. Yeah.
And yeah, and like I remember like my parents, they just kept saying that. They kept giving me like my dad would just give me more chores the more video games I played. And just one day I just snapped and I was like, what the fuck? Given my situation that you guys have opted to put me in, I didn't want to grow up in this neighborhood. I didn't want to go to this school. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do that. You know, like I didn't choose to do all of these things. I was like, I have no friends that I can be with. I have no way of socializing with people. Unless you want to change that, feel free to oblige. You're welcome to change that if you want to do that. And I just like I made good points and I remember like I blew up on them and my parents are not used to me doing that because again I'm not confrontational. And we're in the living room, and I just remember that was the first time I ever done anything. I felt like pretty great that like my parents, their jaws were floored, and they like gained respect for me. And I was like, wait, whoa, hold on.
What happened?
You mean that I can? You mean to tell me that this whole time a conversation could have happened? Because you've treated me as if that was never an option before. But yeah. Enough trauma dumping, but
No. Yeah, I relate to you a lot there. That it actually means a lot that you're willing to share that with all of us. Like, I totally understand where you're coming from with that because I've had similar conversations. I don't know if I had the catharsis that you're speaking of, where I ever realized like, oh, they will respect me because my family has a funny way of doing things, you know. You'll talk about something, sweep it under the rug, never talk about it again.
we definitely do that too, but it takes someone like really like. So our family does this thing where like somebody will snap, they'll blow up, and then no one will talk to each other. There will be no aftermath. What it takes in my family is there has to be the explosion, and then you have to, like metaphorically as a wolf, once you've bitten down, not let go. Like, and if that comes in the conversation of arguing for a week straight, you know, fighting for yourself, that's what it is. But that's what it takes, and that shit's exhausting, so no one really ends up doing it.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like a long, drawn-out legal battle, you know? Like,
you
might as well just settle.
Like going to court.
Okay, so moving on from that, I wanted to ask you about what exactly drew you towards streaming and like putting yourself on air, and what was like your kind of inspiration? Like, when did you realize that was an option for you, or something that you thought you would be good at? Because, I mean, despite what people in your chat say, you are very good at it, and you seem like a naturally gifted person in entertainment. Not to not to flatter you too much, but these are things
I appreciate you saying that.
I've noticed.
And it's funny that I love the piece about despite what my chat says. I love that. So I've known fairly early on that I was not supposed to, that's not the right word, but I wanted to be a video game centric content creator, whether that was somebody that shared news on video games or just did gameplay and commentary, which, you know, 10-15 years ago was the shit. Let's Plays was like, everyone did one of those, right? Yeah, I remember like it was just something that I knew that's what I wanted to do. I was inspired by, you know, like people like from Machinima and stuff like that. I just thought it was really cool. So I actually started live streaming. It was funny. I was looking for more Fallout 3 content, just ways to see what other people were doing in Fallout 3, and I came across this channel on a website called Justin.tv called 4Player Podcast, and they still stream to this day. It's crazy, and that was 2008.
Damn.
Yeah, so they've been at it for a minute, and
I hate
They,
that
yeah, fuck them. They would just stream like whatever the flavor of the day was. A lot of it at the time was Fallout 3 because it just happened to be the big game for that year, or one of the big games. I was like, this is really cool. How do I do it? So I had some friends that also shared interest in video games just as much as I did at school. And I started a channel on Justin TV. And for those that don't know, Justin TV is Twitch before Twitch. Actually, Justin TV got bought out by Twitch, or by Amazon, and became Twitch. So I've actually been doing this for a long time, and my oldest video on my YouTube is, I think, 11 years old, 11 coming on 12. And I've been streaming even before that. So
Wow.
Where I was going with that is that this is something I've always thought and known, that I was like, I want to do it with, at the time, of course, was like what 4Player Podcast was doing. So I saved up like a bunch of money to buy this thing called a Blitzbox. And the Blitzbox essentially was just a capture card. It was the first capture card that they made that they targeted gamers, because at the time that's when like gaming content, Let's Plays, and like Halo montages and stuff were popping off. What people used back in the day was this thing called the Hopodge HD PVR. That was the first capture card, quote unquote, that was used to it was used to capture footage in 1080p. At the time,
Okay.
everyone did 720p. That was the first one that could do 1080p, and it was massive. It was funny. Gamers figured this out because, again, if you wanted to do console recording, you could do screen recording. Every old YouTube head remembers unregistered Hypercam 2, and all these other joys. So like, PC stuff was easy, but console was a little different. You couldn't do the exclusives, and they figured out that this piece of hardware that was invented to record television actually worked for gaming. But anyways, that's the lore there of how people did things back in the day. But anyways, I bought this thing called the Blitzbox, which was the first capture card for that. Anyways, I told you I had some friends that were also interested in this sort of thing. So remembering the name 4Player Podcast, they were the guys that inspired me. And then they inspired me, and we got this, that like all three of my friends, we pitched in to get this thing, and we're like, we're gonna start a Twitch channel, and we're gonna, or a Justin TV channel, and we're gonna, you know, we're gonna just have like this group account that we're all gonna share. And so we called ourselves Three Guys One Laptop was the name of our channel. It was a play on words by 4Player Podcast, but it was also like a, you know, Two Girls One Cup euphemism. Yeah, so I was streaming back then. Eventually that, like, those relationships fell off. And then I started doing YouTube. And I made videos primarily around Fallout 3, starting out initially. Then I kind of branched into Assassin's Creed stuff. And then I branched into doing Skyrim. It was usually around, like, Assassin's Creed, like, the main RPGs that were out there. And I was, like, back in the day doing the, like, this is how you find this broken item and stuff like that. And I had videos that were getting, like, you know, thousands and thousands of views. And at the time, as like a stupid little 15, 16-year-old, however old I was, like, I just did not have the foresight to think that this could actually be something. Because the idea of like a full-time YouTuber at the time was impossible. I mean, you name anyone, like,
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was just PewDiePie at the time, pretty much, right?
it was like Ray William Johnson. It was Philip DeFranco. It was like only a handful of people that were really actually getting paid from YouTube and like using that as like a as an income source. And so I remember they YouTube just opened up their partner program where they're going to start paying creators, because in the origins of it, no one was making money off of YouTube. They're still running the ads and shit, but no one was making money unless you got like a specific deal. It was like the equivalent of getting like a partner deal on Twitch, but like harder. You'd have to have like 1,000 concurrent viewers. It was like kind of that hard to achieve, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna cut you off really quick. We're about to play an ad, so I'm just gonna take the opportunity to use the bathroom real quick.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry, it's been pressing.
No,
So
you're good.
I'll be back in like 1 minute.
Yeah. No, you're good.
All right, so we're back, and so you were talking about the monetization and when it all kind of first started, right?
Yeah. So gaming content was kind of in like a really weird space back then, where that was like we're still kind of fighting this fight today, but the idea of how copyright is implemented is still not exactly clear cut in a lot of ways. So what a lot of people thought these gaming companies were going to start doing once these creators started making money on YouTube was they're going to start copyright striking them just for playing it. We know like Nintendo to kind of does this.
They still do, yeah.
Yeah. They're evil, but anyways, I digress. Yeah, the point is that like, but everyone thought that every developer, every publisher was gonna start doing that. Like they were gonna like literally take you to court because you made a let's play of like Minecraft or something, you know. And so one of the first ways that people felt safe being a content creator in the gaming space was by joining these gaming-centered networks. So the big one that everyone probably remembers if you were alive back then was Machinima.
And Machinima, that kind of spawned like Rooster Teeth, right? Like Red versus Blue kind of came out of that too.
I think Rooster Teeth predates Machinima, if I'm remembering correctly.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, because they, the idea of Machinima, the name comes from Machine Cinema. And so they were like one of the first big like Machinima makers with the Red versus Blue series. So like I think I could be wrong on that. That might be fake news, but I think that's how that worked. But either way, and like all of these gaming YouTubers didn't know if they were allowed to be gaming YouTubers. And so we had to join these networks. I was fortunate enough, I got signed on to Yoush, which was what one of these people were. So I was good. I was able to have my channel. And I started making like these videos that were getting like tons of views. And again, I remember I was doing this thing and I knew that I could make money. I like set up my account and stuff like that. And I remember I made $2,000 was my first paycheck from YouTube.
Oh wow.
Yeah, as like a kid, and I'm like, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And my parents were like, you made this from talking about video games on the internet? And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of cool, isn't it? And they're like, we don't trust this. I made $2,000, and my parents' first response were, something's fishy. You know,
Fair.
from Google of all things, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so, yeah, that was like, I kind of tasted like what being a content creator and like success, quote unquote, looked like back then. But I still never had the foresight to think that, oh, this could be like a job. Like, because again, even back then, that was just a silly idea to have in your head. Oh yeah, this will be a job. That's insane. Okay. Anyways, go learn law, idiot.
Go be a doctor. Call us.
Yeah,
doctor.
exactly. Yeah. So like, I kind of had that taste of success. I've already like integrated myself into like these communities with you know, doing streaming and all this other stuff, and just like forums and all that. So it was something that I was already doing a lot, just on my own volition. I thought it was fun. I was like, I want to have my voice included into it. I think it's really cool the way this guy named X was playing Minecraft, the way C-Nanners was playing COD and talking about life, and yeah, it was just, I had all these people to look up to, and I was like, I want to do that. And I was doing that for a long time. And then what happened was high school came around. Well, I should say I finished high school, because I was still doing this throughout high school. Then it was college, and I had to make a decision. It was either, my decision was, because I'm starting to pick up steam on this YouTube thing, or I go to college. And because I was like, I know for myself, if I'm just being honest, that I really care about this YouTube thing that I was doing. And I would not focus on I would just flunk out of college. And my parents, you know, having the background that they did and the beliefs that they do, were like, yeah, fuck that, dude. You're not doing YouTube. Are you insane? You're going to college. You're gonna quit that thing. And I was like, I was just trying to be realistic about it. And I was like, they're probably right. I was like, this is stupid for me to think that this could be anything. That this is gonna go anywhere, whatever. Like that's just silly of me. All right, I'm gonna go to college. So I go to college. I killed my YouTube channel, and it was one of those things where it was like, while I was in that period of college and wasting a shit ton of money on college. By the way, I should have done YouTube for anyone that's listening. That's the answer. I'm not saying that's the best advice for you. I'm just saying, fuck, I wish I would have picked it.
Dude, I agree 100%. That's one thing that our kind of childhoods diverged. My parents were actually pretty supportive and probably wouldn't have stopped me from doing something like that. Which makes me really wish that I had tried when I was younger. So it's kind of the opposite, because I just wasn't motivated to do anything, you know?
Yeah, it was, it's one of those things where, like, I looked at my YouTube channel growth. If it stayed at the growth that it had, when I left, and it didn't fluctuate at all, like, it didn't get any better, it didn't get any worse, if it just stayed at the steady growth of what it was, like, I think my channel would have had, like, I think my channel would have had, like, I did the math, it was like 535,000 subscribers or something like that.
But you know what? Okay, it's like investing, right? Because the best time to start was yesterday, the second best time is today, and you decided to start, you know, again, like a year ago, right? And now,
yeah.
Now you'll look at yourself 10 years from now, and you'll probably be like, damn, I'm glad I started doing this again.
Well, that's the thing, is so I went to college, I got out of college, I did my first big boy job, there was this girl that I was, like, pretty serious with, I thought I was gonna get married to, yeah, like, I just had all of these things that made it so doing a YouTube and all of this stuff was just, it was just out of the question. I had way too much time that wasn't my own. But even when that was going on, like those years that were passing by, I'm like, damn, I really, really miss doing that. I was like, I was genuinely passionate about it. I was genuinely passionate about making stupid jokes on the internet while playing and just enjoying the joy of playing a video game and my excitement and sharing that excitement. I was like, that was something that like this is gonna sound extremely dramatic, and it kind of is, but I was like, literally, I felt like a part of me was gone in those days. So I always knew that I wanted to come back to YouTube and streaming and all of that stuff. I knew that I wanted to do that. But I was like, all right, I just need to get into the right time and place. I want this, if I'm going to return back to the internet, I want it to be done the way that I see fit. I want it to be at a quality that I see fit. I want every bit of it to like basically make up for the dream that I kind of once killed. And yeah, so that's, here we are today. Yeah, streams are something.
Streams are groovy, dude.
Streams are something for sure. But yeah, it's been such a joy to get back into. Like genuinely, my like it's therapeutic in a way, is how I would describe it. Like I was like, I'm finally doing that thing again that I missed so much, and I've been doing this for over a year now, and I shit you not when I say that pretty much every day I go live, I'm giddy in that way, where I'm like, I get to remind myself that I get to do this thing, and it's so cool, and I have nothing holding me back, and I get to kind of like, I get to make that kid, I get to make that former me, they get their retribution or so, however you would say that. They get to have that dream that they wanted to have, and it's so cool, dude. Yeah. I'm gonna like stop being weird and emotional, but yeah.
No, keep being weird and emotional. That's the Monty that we all have come to know and love, right? That's like something we were talking about a little bit ago when I first brought this idea to you. Was about like bringing meaning to the gaming, you know? That was my motivation behind starting streaming, was kind of make it feel like it's worthwhile to spend so much time on something that ultimately really isn't, I guess. I don't know how to say that, because I definitely think that playing video games has merit, both for developing skills and just for, like you said, therapeutic qualities, I suppose.
Yeah.
And that's been something about streaming for me, is like, because I know I feel better when I play them, you know, but getting the motivation to play them sometimes takes a minute.
Yeah, for sure. It's also, you may want to throw on a certain item.
Thank you.
You
could have told me 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, we're in the sauce. Yeah, it's good. But yeah, no, I agree. It's that there's this thing that like it meant a lot to me. I know you're kind of doing a bit of the interviewing here, but I actually do want to ask you kind of the same question, in that you talked about how we had, you know, similar upbringings, and you had clearly a background in doing video games and just early, you know, having that joy, maybe starting young, starting later, whatever it is. Sounds like it was early on. What did that look like for you? Like, same question.
Like first games, like bringing up in it, or
yeah. Let's start with first game. What made Heartbreaker Jaker a gamer?
Oh, that would be the Jak and Daxter series for the PlayStation 2. And so I kind of started off, those were kind of semi-open world, so I'd always, loved that format. They were a lot more limited. I wasn't allowed to play Grand Theft Auto and stuff like that, very religious upbringing.
Same.
But my sister had this boyfriend in high school who had just bought an Xbox 360, and he gave me his old Xbox. And so that's where I got introduced to, like, Halo and Halo 2. And that's when I think I really, like, just kind of fell in love with it. And then with Halo 3, of course, that's when I realized what video games could actually be with, like, online aspects. And I probably spent way too much of my middle school years on Halo 3, not gonna lie. I leaned more into the creative side. I spent probably 12 hours a Saturday fucking working on maps, like, for Halo 3, doing the whole Forge thing. I was really big in, like, the whole Forge side of stuff, so I met a lot of people there. That was, like, the first online community that I was a part of. And it felt kind of cool, I had people to hang out with and talk about shit that, like, no one else that I knew anything about, and that was a neat aspect of it, I had, like, my own little party that I can go to kind of escape everything.
Sure. You said, I think at one point, you had, like, a map that was, like, featured on, like, Forge Hub or something like that, right?
Yeah, I won a contest on there, and I got second place in another one, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, what was the name of the map again? I remember you told it to me before, and I was like, yeah, I've played on that.
Oh, really? I don't know about that. It was a remake of Afghan from Modern Warfare 2, but it was half the size because of Forge limitations. So it was called Afghan.
Afghan. Okay. I thought there was another one. Maybe it was like on Reach or something like that. I don't know. I swore you told me one, and I remembered it.
First thing I did in Reach, I did a replica of Hogwarts from Harry Potter. That got, like, a shit ton of downloads, and I was like, that was too easy, and I kind of hate it now. Because anyone can do it. And so then I stopped. So...
yeah, okay.
That was interesting.
So Halo was yours.
Halo, yeah. I had a lot of good times with Halo. It's definitely not my forte now. I've never been, like, great at first-person shooters in general. This kind of game, RPGs and stuff, have always been more my speed, although I've never been much of a competitive gamer before. Until, of course, Elden Ring had to happen. And just,
now it's only competitiveness.
Yeah, now it's like, okay, I don't want to play a story game. I just want to fucking fight people.
I love that.
And there is, like, a community aspect to that I really enjoy, that I kind of lost after I kind of left the Halo thing. And there's something about, like, Twitch. Like, I probably wouldn't be still playing this game if I hadn't found Twitch. Oh, look what Cat's doing. Okay.
What, if you don't mind me asking, what made you want to be a streamer?
It wasn't a want thing. It was more so a, everyone would, like, go away after the homie was done streaming, Like I would hang out in Kurt's stream, and we'd all hang out, have a good time, and then it would end, and then everyone would kind of go away, and, that was the night, and I'm like, I still got game left in me. And I didn't really know people, like, too many people at the time, so I was like, hey, what if I just, like, streamed and, like, hosted a fight club? And then, like, a couple homies showed up. Actually, like, Genius Level was one of the first people that showed up to my stream, and we had a lot of fun just kind of dicking around doing a little fight club. And I don't know, like, that's kind of how it started, and I just kind of fell in love with it.
Alright, yeah, I remember when you said you first started streaming, I was like, let's go! You're like, we'll see how it goes. Yeah. Here you are, man.
Yeah, no, and I'm still having a good time with it. I'm kind of trying to bring new life to it for myself. It kind of lost its whole luster, I guess, for a minute there, but I don't know. It's something that I'll definitely always be coming back to.
Yeah, it is a joy for sure having that community. because I mean, I think you and I are no strangers to the idea of being in these online communities and them kind of meaning something just a little bit more to us, because it, you know, those were your friends. Those
Right.
are your friends, you know?
There, yeah. Oh, shh. So I wanted to get back. How many gravity deaths is that?
I think we're at 3, 2, 3.
Okay, so bring it back. I wanted to actually ask you how you got into like photography and stuff, because I know that that's a big thing that you're into, and you do it for money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what got you into that path? Because that's like I've always thought that photography, at least like in schools and stuff, has always been something criminally underrated as far as teaching it goes and classes for it go. And the way that people who aren't photographers themselves or no photographers perceive it, I think that it's a very undermined art. Sorry, that was a lot to just like unload right there.
No,
but,
you're good.
my mom's also a photographer. My sister is too.
Oh, no way. That's sick.
And I've always thought it's an incredible skill to have, and it takes a lot more talent than people kind of chalk it up to having. You know, you meet people who are like, oh, you just point a camera and click. What's there to it? You know.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what kind of got you down that road?
Yeah. Photography is so. I think photography was. So, even outside of doing, so I did, you know how like I did like the gaming content stuff on YouTube. That was actually part of me. I wanted to do videography. I was really interested in just creating videos, you know, like marketing material type stuff. That was something that I was like, well, I learned from doing all this gaming stuff as a kid. You know, I was like, I could do like actual like corporate type stuff, and that would be a job, and that's actually like part of one of the things that I went to college for was that. But the natural progression of understanding video was also getting to know and understand photography. If you want to shoot something that looks right on video, you kind of have to you need to understand the foundations of photography as well. You need to understand like what's a good picture, why is it a good picture, how is this something that can be digestible by not only yourself, others, what looks good, what doesn't look good, like why. Answering the why is some of the hardest thing. That's like, I think when it comes to the teaching aspect of just creative media, the hardest thing to teach is the why. Why does something look good? Like every photographer does this thing where they pick up their first camera, and then they throw on this setting called clarity, which is like makes it like a little, it like sharpens the image, but it makes it look like an absolute garbage dump of a mess. And it's like, but like every single photographer does it. And the reason I bring that up is because what's so funny about photography is that when you start doing it, you play around with the editing software and stuff, and like, oh, you learn how to use Photoshop and this and that, and you just start making your images just look like garbage. But it's like, hey, you're learning how to use the tool, but it's like that tool that you're using looks heinous, or the final product, but you think it looks cool, right? Because
Yeah.
you're like, hey, look at all this editing and stuff. I made this orange, it's purple now, it's crazy, you know?
Wow. I know that feeling. Yeah.
And what's funny about photography is like you start off doing that. You like learn to use the tools to really do image manipulation, and like you're like, dang, I'm getting pretty good at this. But like an actual photographer will be like, please stop. And the more you get into it, it's funny. The more you find that less is more. Like obviously you can have overly stylistic photos. There's nothing wrong with that. That's like the beauty of art, right? It's beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But like if you're trying to do like corporate type stuff or stuff that works, like if you're doing like, you know, headshot photos, like I was doing some headshots for like a lawyer firm. Like you can't do your quirky stuff. That doesn't pay the bills.
Right,
look
right.
Cool. It may look interesting, but you know they just want boom headshot, good lighting, all of that, all a day.
You gotta direct your Marvel films to fund your fucking Tarantino films. Well,
Exactly.
Old Tarantino, I guess, but
yeah, no, I got it for sure. Yeah, so it's I'm scared. Yeah, it's funny. They photography has been something where it kind of was that little bit of void that I was filling when I was not doing the gaming related stuff, because it was still, I was sharing art and the appreciation for something with people. So I started out doing landscape photography. I was just like, I think the world is a beautiful place. I know, very brave thing of me to say.
oh yeah, definitely, very 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 brave.
Yeah, very, very brave and nuanced for sure. But I was like, you know, like I'm so fascinated with nature and why it's so pretty and captivating, and like I've always been like wondering in my head, I'm like, why is it that it just feels good to go outside and sit under a tree, you know, like, or look at a mountain? Like I was like, why does that inspire people? And I've always been fascinated by that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, like this is great. Like I want to share the beauty of nature with other people. So yeah, I did a lot of that. That's where I got started in photography. Then I started dating this chick who did modeling. And through her,
la la.
I was like, how do I say this where it doesn't sound like a flex or anything? Because it's not. She was psychotic.
It is a flex. All right.
Yeah, it's a flex until you realize that she's a psychopath. That dating people just because they look good and great is not an effective way to find partners. So that's a little PSA to anyone out there. But anyways, I digress. She did the modeling thing. I did the photography thing, and it was like we both kind of just like learned on our own to get a style that we liked and like a type of, you know, just stuff that worked for her. And through that, like I started gaining a lot of followers on Instagram. I think at like my peak, I had like 15K or something like that. It's since dropped to like 7K or some shit like that, just because I don't know, you demon. Yeah, I just started getting all these followers, like with me and my girlfriend at the time, and it was like, yeah, I was like, okay, I'm into headshots and portraits and stuff like that. And then Shorty broke my heart, and so I was like, fuck this shit. I'm back to I'm back to doing landscape. I'm back to making things look beautiful again. So it's actually really funny, like a lot of like my bigger posts that like I got, like, so I did like the sponsorship. I worked with brands and stuff through my Instagram and whatnot, which is so funny to like all of these things in my life have in one way or another actually made streaming something that's a little bit more understandable for me, like working with sponsorships, making, you know, videos and stuff, because I was doing like videos and stuff even from the gaming stuff, but even prior to that and all that, you know, photography, marketing, how to brand yourself. I was just like, these are all things that just
they're interconnected,
kind of ended
right?
up working out really good for being a streamer.
Right, yeah. No, and like all the signs are there, you know.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was. I think it's funny if you go to like my Instagram, like, and you scroll back, you'll see like, you know, beautiful types of photography of like beaches and you know, abandoned warehouses and mountains and all this other beautiful stuff. And then you like see this chick, which I can't get rid of the post because they're sponsored. There's just a shit ton of my ex-girlfriend, and then there's and then it's back to like mountains and shit again. So like literally like my Instagram, like if you just scroll through, it looks like a psychopath that like can't get over his ex, and it's very unfortunate.
Does it ever make you think of that that Halo? I think it's Halo 1, Halo CE, the mission, a testament to all of your sins.
Yeah.
Or sorry, a monument to all your sins.
Yeah, a monument. Yeah.
I've always thought that was a very good name. Very aptly named mission. Oh man.
Monument to all your sins. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's funny. It's like a sin monument sandwich. You have the two, except for it's inverse. You have the buns, which are the good parts in this case, and you have the middle, and it's just like, we're gonna scroll fast through that, but yeah.
So what would you say as a photographer? Do you believe you've reached your peak? Do you believe you've achieved your magnum opus, so to speak, or do you think that's yet to come? And if that's yet to come, what would it look like?
Yeah, I would say that's definitely yet to come. So there is certain... When it comes to art in general, one thing that a lot of people do is... It's kind of like you basically, when you become an artist, whether that's painting or you clay or whatever the hell it is, like you create a thesis. And this is what or a niche is a better word that are easier to understand. You create a niche in what you want to be known for and what you want to achieve. And for me personally, I want to capture just some of the... I want to just capture some level of... like the rawest form of an emotion in a shot. And that sounds like really like broad and like kind of a nothing burger. But to explain that, or just capturing the perfect moment. I think a lot of... I should say that I share that with a lot of photographers in that it's like, can you just be at the right place at the right time? Can you get the perfect shot? I don't think the perfect shot necessarily exists, but like one of the best ones... Okay, I'll say this. I've said a lot of things without like completing a sentence. There is one shot that I am extremely proud of, and I was in... what was it? Arches? I was in Moab.
Okay. Oh my god, I love Moab.
In Utah. Yeah, I was in Moab. And Moab, it does not... It hardly rains there.
Yeah.
I think when we got... Yeah, I think when they got there, they said, like, it hasn't rained in, like, 3 weeks or something like that. A month or some shit. Like, it was something crazy like that. And... of course, the first day that we get there, so my family and I, we were doing like a trip through a lot of the national parks that are through there. So it was like Zion, Arches, Moab, Estes, and we get to Moab, and it's just raining there. And I remember we're like, well, screw it, we'll still search around, because I was like, whenever we go on these family trips, I'm the one telling the family what we're doing, where we're going, because I'm like, I need to see what this pier looks like in Maine. I was like, I have such bad FOMO, I have to know what this mountain range looks like in the morning. Like, I just tell them, like, what basically our itinerary is, because I'm like...
Hey, I love that about you.
Yeah.
That's something I would never do.
Because I have to know what it's like and under these certain circumstances. So it's raining, and it's like we could have easily stayed in our hotel and just hung out and had like an in day. But I was like, no, let's go explore around. I want to see what the canyons are like. What does it look like when we're in the storms? And of course, we're in the desert, right? So storms weren't exactly, long. They were pretty fast for the
But
most part.
they're beautiful, aren't they?
Yes. So what happened was we get there and we're at, I think it was Dead Horse Point.
Oh, I love Dead Horse Point. Yeah.
Yeah. And it has like the Colorado River right there that just kind of goes through it and stuff like that. And
can I give you a hot take real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
I think I like Dead Horse Point better than the Grand Canyon. I think it's prettier.
What's funny? Never went to the Grand Canyon.
Oh,
Never been there. Yeah, I really, really do want to go there at some point. That's on the FOMO list for sure. But yeah, never been there. Hope to one day. Yeah. So we were there. One of the showers goes by, and it's it's this not great situation, but you know what? The clouds are clearing up. Whatever. It's okay. And then what happens is this perfect rainbow appears over the Colorado River, and I'm looking down this valley, and I just
that's what happened when I realized I was gay. Sorry, keep
like
going.
seriously, or
No.
or okay. I didn't know if you were like actually having a moment, but I was like, I'm pretty sure you're joking, so I want to make sure,
No, sorry, keep going.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, I had this rainbow perfectly show up, and it was like perfect framing down this canyon area, and I got it. It's on my Instagram, but basically if you see like a rainbow going through a canyon, it's the one. But it's one of those ones where like the moment just looks so perfect that everyone always asks me if I composited the rainbow in afterwards.
Oh shit, okay.
Yeah, and it's like, and every time someone asks me that, it's like one of my highest praises. I was like, nope, I got to experience that, and it was really great.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, so I would say that's like the closest to like, that's the one I'm most proud of, but it's like, can I do better? Sure, but I haven't seen it yet. I know I can, but it's out there type of thing. And that's one of the beautiful things about photography, is that it is really the never-ending hunt to find that perfect moment, that perfect thing that you get to say, like, I was there, and I now have this forever,
Have you ever seen the movie Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yeah, oh, great movie.
Have you ever considered? You know what? Never mind. I'm not gonna ask that.
Getting a radar scanner, and just like, hey.
or creating your own crime scenes to photographize. Photographize. No, I would never ask that. Do you believe that a perfect photograph has been taken? And if so, which one by whom?
I would say a perfect one has been taken, yes. I'm gonna butcher the photographer's name, but there's this photo that it is of, I forget the area, but you know what? Like, I have to send this to you. I don't even know if I could. There's like probably not a way that you could like put it on screen or whatever, but there's this photo called Ghost, and what it is there's the I need to look up the name of this specific cavernous area, but basically there's like these very tight, windy, kind of cavern-like structures in a specific part. I think it's New Mexico or something like that, or Utah. I can't remember which one, or Nevada even.
Did you just say Nevada? Did you just bastardize my home state's name?
Nevada?
There you go. There you go. Hard Nevada, not or Nevada, not Nevada.
All right, you can't do that. You can't defend it anymore.
Nope. I'm fucked. I've been exposed.
But yeah, basically it's just it's a picture of this cavern, and there's like a beam of light that's shining through the top, and there's a bit of dust that's kicked up, and the dust that's kicked up kind of mildly resembles a ghost. It doesn't like. That's just why it's called Ghost. It's not like a big deal. Like, it has no real meaning. But it's just this perfect cavernous shot. And it was shot on film. And then later, this picture was sold for, I think it was $2.3 million.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
That's a small chunk of change.
For a photo print. $2.3 million. I have to find this photographer's name. He's just a legend in the space as far as landscape goes. But yeah, I would say the closest thing to a perfect photo that exists would be that. But would I say, is it a perfect photo? I don't know. There's a part of me that just wants to answer that question and say no, because if you give yourself a cap, a ceiling, right, then what's the point of trying to go beyond it, you know?
Right.
Or like,
yeah.
you like can't, right? You know, so it's. I'm for principle's sake, I'm gonna say no, but I would say if I were held at gunpoint to say that one exists, it would 100% be that. At least in terms of landscape, there's a lot of people photos that are just fantastic. I mean, there's the one with it's one of the like most famous photos ever taken. It's like
the girl with the blue eyes.
Yes, girl with the blue eye. I was literally gonna
National
say that,
Geographic cover. Yeah, that's what comes to mind for me. As
if I was doing all photos and not even just landscape, I would say girl with the blue eyes comes to mind. I think that's such a popular one for such a good reason. And then there's the one with the old lady during the Great Depression.
Yes. Okay, that was my second. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking that as well. I don't know the names of a lot of photos, but a lot come to mind. Oh my god. Just two Arumis. I said it. So what do you think that you would like want to lean into if you were to take what you would like if you were to pursue the perfect photo? Do you think it would come in the form of a landscape or a stage portrait, or do you think it has to be a spontaneous thing in order for it to actually achieve like what people would define as perfection? Is it a Kodak moment, or was it, you know?
Yeah, I think everyone's gonna draw that line in their own way. I'd say for me, I would say that it has to be a moment that's given to you. It's
the gods
because the thing is that like because the thing is that like if it's something that you can create on your own, like you do all the backdrop, which I'm not saying like that stuff is lesser or anything like that. It's just a different form, and
Chat GPT do it, you know?
exactly. I'm not. I would say that stuff is incredibly impressive, but I would say if it's something that you can artificially create, then it's something that can be repeated. Whereas the things that can't be repeated kind of make them more personalized in that way. And to me, in my mind, that has more value for that reason. But again, that's that's just a personal preference. Like I'm friends with tons of like, you know, portrait photographers that are doing shit where they're like hanging people upside down and dripping a paint bucket on their face and shit. And it looks cool as fuck. It looks so cool. So, you know.
Well, and I think the definition of the word probably comes down to each individual who's seeing it. I'll never forget. I managed to have a talk with someone who is not famous or anything as far as singing goes, but was a classically trained like lounge singer. You know, like think like Frank Sinatra and stuff. I met this guy at a bar, and we were having a conversation. And I realized halfway through the conversation about music that I had no idea what the fuck I was talking about when talking to this dude. And he wasn't being pretentious or anything. It was just somebody who clearly knew a lot more than me. And you may recall a little bit ago, I don't remember if it was your stream, maybe Reef's stream, I played the song WAP, but covered by Richard Cheese.
Yeah, that was mine. I was playing Neo, yeah.
That was yours. Okay. So Richard Cheese, he's a parody artist, right? Clearly very talented, very good lounge singer. And I was talking to this guy who does that kind of singing, and I was like, oh yeah, like Richard Cheese, like, you know, he's like just as good as Sinatra, but he chose to be funny instead. And the dude's like, did you just say that? Like, did you just fucking tell me that Richard Cheese is as talented as Sinatra? I'm like, yeah. And so, like, clearly, like, as a layman, you know, like, they're indistinguishable as far as talent goes. But to somebody who knows, somebody who really knows, like, the talent that it takes, like, they're gonna see it differently. Like, what I might perceive as a perfect song, maybe somebody who knows about composing music inside and out is just gonna see something ordinary.
I would see it the same way as you in that scenario. Music is something that I'm very bad with because music, first of all, I have bad hearing. A lot of people have to like repeat shit to me because I just have horrible hearing. In fact, when I edit videos, I have a sound guy on staff literally just to tell me if I have a sound guy on staff literally just to tell me if my shit makes sense or not.
Okay.
Because I can literally, I'm telling you, my hearing is so bad. I can only rely on looking at levels in the video editor to see if I have it right.
Well, that's a talent in its own. Like,
it's pretty easy. You just make sure it's in the yellow. That's all. But yeah, that's so. When people like I'll be talking to like Coop, right? Coop does music
Rip
producing.
Bozo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he plays with the DAWs, you know. And he's like he's talking about like certain songs and why they're good, and he's answering the why question in ways that I never thought about. But it's like, yeah, like, you know, some people just know, and there is a why. But also at the same time, some people will just say this shit's ass, this shit's really good, and there's kind of like no reason for it, and then it's just, you know, all right, well, hey, that's your opinion, and that's cool, that's fine. But I'm not gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna change my opinions just because you were like, man,
right.
Richard Cheese sucks in my opinion. I'm like, no, I kind of like Richard Cheese. Oh.
Well, it's not saying they suck. I mean, it's like how any classically trained musician will tell you that David Bowie isn't a good singer in a traditional sense of actually understanding, you know, singing.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that because he's so respected too.
Yeah, well, exactly. Like, it doesn't take being good at your craft in a traditional sense to be a master of it, in my mind, as far as audiences are concerned. It's kind of similar to what you were saying the other day in your stream about being a good player or a good player as a streamer versus being an entertaining player.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I don't think I would like David Bowie as much if he was a classically good singer, because honestly, that comes down to being kind of boring. Like, takes years to
That's
master.
true. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah, it's like you gotta have your own personality, and part of that personality that's valuable to some people is the imperfections that may or may not have.
Right. And there's this thing in like Gothic architecture, which I'm sorry, that sounds like a far cry from what we were talking about. But with Gothic architecture and the building of cathedrals and such, the architects would purposefully make their buildings imperfect, as kind of a reference to not being able to be as perfect as God, which, you know, might sound weird to you and me, but I think that it actually creates more unique buildings with the way that they are thinking about it. And it could be as simple as like buttresses not lining up from either side, or like windows not being symmetrical and stuff like that. But yeah, they would purposefully make their buildings imperfect.
Yeah, I think regardless of beliefs, it's kind of sick. You know,
Oh.
it's like a sick. Yeah, that's cool lore right there.
Oh, I 100% agree. I did it.
Yippee!
So has like being a photographer and having that kind of background, has that influenced like the way that you stream, or the way that you think about streaming? Like, do you kind of think similarly about setting up a photo shoot as you would about setting up a stream?
Yeah, I would say I think I think an argument could be made that it plays into the role of trying to bring something creative ideas to the stream. So I haven't been doing it as much lately, and largely that's just in part to you know, like I just feel like I'm gonna hold on to like my better ideas until there's like renewed interest in Elden Ring and stuff like that.
That's fair.
But I definitely like when I started streaming, I would pull the trigger on like a lot of just interesting ideas that I had. But anyways, all of that to say that yeah, to set up a good shot, to set up a good idea, a good thesis, you know, you have to always just doing the whole thing, think outside the box, you know, this and that, whatever. Sure, yeah, you got to do those things, and it's a part of it, at least for the way that I do streaming, is I just want to think of it to do something differently. So in my marketing job, one of the things that I was tasked with doing was, so I worked for this like mixed use like property, where, you know, it was like there was like hotels and a movie theater and like an aquarium and shit, and I was part of the team, or marketing at least I should say, was tasked with like, hey, do cool shit so that people will show up to our event so they could buy like shit at our shops and stuff like that. That was one of the things that I had to do. And so it wasn't really a far-fetched thing for me to just every day I would just come up with like a list of things that I'm like, this is fun and it's easy to do, it's hard to do, whatever it is. I would rank them in whatever bin it deserved to go into. You know, we did this thing where we like, well, I'll use an example of like stream here. So like, one of the things that happened. Oh.
Sorry. Keep going.
Yeah. So I would say, yes, that when it came to like coming up with ideas and stuff for stream, it would just be something as simple as like, what did I like to do as a kid?
Okay.
For like Forest, what I do at recess, Foursquare, dodgeball. Okay. All right. What if I set up a tournament because Seamless 2.0 just dropped and we can have 20 people?
Wait,
and like we all have. Say what?
You weren't the weird kid at recess who would like build Legos at the picnic table?
I envied that kid. I wasn't allowed to play with Legos.
What? No. Okay. Wait.
Not at recess. Not at recess. I could at my house.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would sneak Legos to recess, but okay, I feel you there.
That's cool, man. You know, you get your little guys you can play with.
Of course, yeah. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. Like Seamless 2.0 just came out, and I can have 20 people there. All right, let's do a big, great bow dodgeball tournament at the big pot after you fight Fire Giant, right? You know, and it was just like, just take a bunch of things and from your world and your life and that you're interested in and see, all right, how can I infuse this with, you know, whatever this activation is that we're doing at our property or in the streaming sense today, like how can I infuse this with stream, whatever it is. You know, like putting on a heartbeat monitor. I had this really great idea.
That was such a good idea.
I had this really great idea, and I'm so pissed at Twitch's TOS, I can't do it. But I have a paintball gun behind me, and I was gonna do like duels, where if I lose a duel, I get shot in the back with a paintball gun, like bareback.
Now, why would Twitch not allow? What is it in the TOS that doesn't allow that?
It qualifies as self-harm.
Oh, okay. If somebody else does it for you, does it count?
You're still allowing it to happen, so it would, like, you know.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Like I was so pumped for the for the paintball gun stream, and I was gonna do like a taser stream and stuff like that. But yeah, there's so many interesting, like, don't get me wrong, a TOS is a very important thing for Twitch to have, for good reason.
No, definitely, and the self-harm one especially is a very good rule.
Yeah,
say.
and I would say that it sends a bad message to kids if I were to do that. I'll give them that. I will give you
okay.
Twitch. I'll give you that one.
No. I'm gonna pull out like my fucking, you know, conservative heritage and say, nah, a kid watching you get shot in the back with a paintball gun is not gonna make that kid think that it's cool to hurt themselves.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll give you that. But you know,
as
at
kids,
the same time, trying it.
Me and my friends would shoot each other in the fucking nuts with paintball guns. So,
my gosh, oh no.
I mean, that's what repression looks like. Okay, when you grow up religious.
This is pretty cool. This whole C&B thing. C&B torture thing is pretty cool.
I didn't say that. TOS. All right. So, how do you feel about the current state of Twitch and the current state of Elden Ring streaming and such? And I noticed that you're doing like a lot of variety gaming, which is fucking awesome because you're actually keeping your numbers, which is something that's very hard to do as a niche game gamer.
I appreciate you saying that, yeah.
No, I'm super proud of you for that. That's like huge. But what is your experience been like? Kind of, I don't want to say like, because you're still mostly streaming Elden Ring, but streaming other games and stuff. Like how has that looked for you? Mentally or professionally, or how you see yourself going forward?
Yeah, I think every streamer wants to be able to do the variety thing one way or another, or like, even like, I'm not saying that people don't like truly love their game that they're niched into or whatever. Of course, if people love the game that they do, but I think there's something to be said that it's just the idea, like, even if you did want to just play Fortnite for the rest of your life, you know, even if you did want to do that,
you still want to have the option if just one day you're like, you know what, I want to play chess instead. You know, I think all streamers want that opportunity if that that comes and knocks at their door. So when I started streaming, I actually wanted to do variety. It was just I was just so welcomed into the Elden Ring community, and I liked Elden Ring enough to where I was like doing it, just niching into this wasn't it was something that I was already gonna kind of do anyways, but I just all the other nice stuff just happened to follow, which was great. But as far as doing other stuff in the state of Elden Ring right now, I think it's no secret that interest in Elden Ring, after having been out for 2 years now with nothing new, we haven't seen an update in months, right? It's not in an ideal place, but it's also not in like the worst thing of all time. Basically, for me, I think this is a fantastic time for any Elden Ring streamer if they want to try to do some other stuff just to see how it goes, test the waters, and not only test the waters, but like test the waters in a way of just having. Sorry, I was getting someone's messages.
Oh, fair.
Throwing me off. But I think it's a perfect time to do it because I think your viewers are probably gonna hang out there and chill there and stuff like that. Because people are gonna like you for the people that are there in most people's channels. Like basically what I'm saying is like growth is not in a it's not in an ideal place really. And that's not by your doing, my doing, anyone's doing. It's just simply the state of interest in the game, and that's fine. But I think now is like a perfect time to. It's a perfect time to try stuff and just see how you like it. I'm not telling people like don't do Elden Ring anymore or anything like that. But you're not really gonna hurt yourself the way that I see it, because the thing is just that Elden Ring it's gonna be here to stay. We're hoping, fingers crossed for a DLC tomorrow.
Maybe. And
yeah, and so we'll see. Whatever comes of tomorrow, but it's like we're in this down period time. Like, your friends are going to be there and be your friends. And sure, your numbers may go down. People simply do just want to watch Elden Ring sometimes, and that's fine.
Yeah, I feel it.
But I don't think people's percentages are going to, like, drop as much as they could theoretically drop. Just by the fact that, it's just, we're just where we're at, and it is what it is, and that's fine.
All right, so if you were forced to only stream one game for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Forced the rest of my life. God, that's hard. That's really difficult. There's a piece of me that wants to say Elden Ring, as insane as that sounds. That's like not cope either. It's just okay. I would say Elden Ring, assuming that it gets like constant updates.
Okay.
But
okay.
if that's not happening, which is obviously going to be the case, but obviously every game eventually stops getting updates. This is how it works. I'd probably pick. I would probably end up picking. It's actually pretty hard. It'd probably be like some type of MMO, maybe,
let's maybe narrow it down, because you're right. That is a hard question, because the options are limited. Let's say you have to stream for the next 3 years one game.
One game for the next 3 years. I'd say I'd probably go with Elden Ring. I know some people will look at that as some interesting brain damage to have, but I feel like I'm one of the few people that it's like I still enjoy playing the game. Sure, it frustrates me in certain ways, and the lack of support and whatnot is not helping, but I still really do. Like the invasion mechanic is truly like it's my favorite mechanic in gaming because I can wake up. I can wake up one day and as someone that likes, I like to tell stories. Someone that likes to be a storyteller. I can wake up that day and just be like, you know what? Today I'm gonna cosplay as the fucking Teletubbies, and I'm gonna, I don't know, drop some shit for some people, and then if they meet a certain requirement, then I become an evil Teletubby or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And that's what's so cool about that is I could just choose to just not play it how it was intended at all, and that's also somehow perfectly fine and intended in a weird way of putting it, you know?
Of course. I'm gonna call things right there for a minute. If you don't mind us taking about a 10-minute break. Are you cool with that at this moment?
Yeah, I need to go re-up a beer anyways.
Alright, hell yeah. And then I was thinking maybe going for about 40 more minutes, if that fits your time.
However long you want. I could be here all night. I could be here for 10, whatever you want, brother.
Alright, 24-hour stream. You guys heard it here first. I'll be back in 10.
All right.
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right, so I wanted to kind of segue a little bit now that we're back into a little bit of a question about cinematography and stuff that you were talking about a little bit earlier, with how photography correlates with cinematography and with filmmaking. It's kind of trying to capture that perfect scene, but every single scene of the movie, right? Is there a certain movie or director that you think encapsulates that, or like you watch one of their movies and you think like every single frame of this could literally be a painting, like that YouTube channel says?
Yeah. Man. Things that quickly pop out to me, while I'm not a fan of the movie itself, I think it's incredibly beautiful, is Blade Runner 2049. That one's very pretty. I think another one is actually, I would say, never mind. One of my favorite movies of all time, arguably my favorite movie of all time, is not my favorite all time, but it's up there. Is Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, mine too. Definitely up there.
Mad Max Fury Road is visually just one of the most beautiful movies, where I'm gonna say this wrong. Namibian. Am I saying that right? Namibian. Basically the country next to South Africa.
Yeah.
It's where they shot it. They shot it there in Australia. They made those set pieces just part of the movie itself, and it looks so good.
And the practical effects like really add to that as well.
80% of that movie was practical effects, and it's just such another win for it. Like all of the fact that all of the what's it called, all of the cars work, right? Like the big like speaker, a car and all that shit. Like it actually works. Like it's pretty insane. What they were able to accomplish. But I would say that's definitely a beautiful movie. I think George Miller did great there. I would also throw up there, but kind of in a more in a different way. I'm a big fan of 1917.
Okay, I haven't seen 1917.
Oh, brother. It's one of those movies that I just can't like, if you're someone that, like, you take an interest in how, the making of movies, and just kind of the work that goes into that, 1917 is kind of a love letter to those people.
Okay.
It's just a good movie on its own, but, like, it does this really cool kind of art house stylistic thing where, so, like, one of the hardest shots to shoot, as a cinematographer is the one take. And the reason why it's so hard is because usually it's these longer shots, the camera's moving around, but there's a lot of choreography and coordination.
Of course.
Everything has to be perfect. The camera op has to be moving the camera perfectly. If one guy in the back of the scene doesn't walk properly or accidentally cover something or bump something or whatever, redo. It just one takes or just these long form one shots are just, they're really hard to do.
Yeah, they're so encapsulating when you pull them off, right?
Yeah. You really take the viewer with you into, like, what the one takes do is that they bring the viewer more into the moment. So the premise of 1917, I won't give away the plot or anything, but it's basically these two guys, you follow these two soldiers in war, and they're on, like, this mission. And it's a war movie, right? And you know, you think of war movie, it's like big explosions and boom boom. No, there's like hardly really that much action in it. But it is one of the most tense war movies there is because you have these one takes and you're following, you know, these two soldiers, and like there's definitely action that happens, but like compared to a traditional war movie, there isn't like shit that happens. But it manages to be more tense than like the average war movie, and it's because you're following them on this mission, and every step that they take could like be your last, and the way that they do the music just builds the tension of everything. It's I cannot say enough good things about that film. I would highly recommend it to everyone. But basically, yeah, so the whole movie is meant to look like it's all one take, with the exception of like one spot where they do like a clear break. And yeah, if you're a fan of you know, movies in general and just how they're made and all this and that, I think that's a must-watch. I would also put Fury Road up there for the same reason, because the funny thing about movies, right, is that the funny thing about movies is that like they're just like any other piece of media. Like story's always king, right? If you don't have a good story, then nothing else matters.
Well, like look at Avatar, you know, like
yeah, exactly. But what I like about Mad Max Fury Road is it just kind of challenges that idea, that notion. The plot is like pretty basic. They just do a circle, right? But everything that they do in that circle is so good. The acting, the set design, the way they do the makeup, just it's all borderline perfect. You know, that's one thing that I like about it, because you appreciate all these other things that make a movie good. Yeah, the story doesn't have to be that deep or impressive. You can still have a good movie, and that's why I like that. But yeah, I would say, yeah, 19, Mad Max Fury Road. My question for you is, though, like, what you putting up there?
I mean, honestly, I'm putting Lord of the Rings up there.
Okay.
All three.
Yeah,
as a trilogy. I'm putting Gladiator up there.
Okay.
I'm putting Django Unchained on there.
I think that's my favorite movie.
I think it's up there for me. My favorite is Hateful Eight, but I can understand why most people... Or Reservoir Dogs. Reservoir Dogs is phenomenal.
I haven't seen that.
Me.
I haven't seen either, actually. And I know Reservoir Dogs is like what made Tarantino.
It is, yeah. So he made Reservoir Dogs and then sold the script for True Romance to make Pulp Fiction. But I would arguably say Reservoir Dogs is better than Pulp Fiction. It's more focused, but that's just me.
Okay.
I would say No Country for Old Men is definitely on there
good.
for that.
So good.
And I'm a big Cormac McCarthy stan, so the book is also incredible. I understand why a lot of people don't like Cormac McCarthy. He's a very unconventional author, but I'm a fan.
Okay. So you read a lot.
I wouldn't say I read a lot. I read enough. I used to read about 10 books a year. Now I'm down to like 2.
Okay.
And it's mostly like junk food fiction. If that makes sense, like Stephen King is quoted as saying that he doesn't write gourmet meals, he writes junk food.
I like that.
And it honestly, with my profession, it's a nice hobby to have. Kind of keeps you.
Do you do like audiobooks?
No, I do Kindle.
Okay.
I've never been into the audiobook thing. I listen to a lot of podcasts for like my rides to work, because I have like a 45-minute drive to work, so I'll listen to podcasts for that.
Oh damn. Where's what are you listening to? What's currently on the agenda?
I listen to a podcast called Behind the Bastards a lot. It's kind of like a podcast about all the most horrific people in history, and with comedic guest stars. It's really good. It's very depressing at times, but they managed to keep it light enough to where it's still listening. Like you can still listen to it. And then I do listen to my fair share of true crime, because apparently that's what the kids are into.
Oh yeah? Is there any like specific stories that you're just kind of fascinated with?
Not
Or just one you've
particularly.
heard recently?
Honestly, like, they all kind of blend together after a while. Like, you hear about one serial killer, you know, you've kind of heard about them all.
Okay.
I don't
Serial
even...
killer tier list.
yeah, exactly. I'm not exactly sure why I'm drawn to, like, content like that. I guess I just find it engaging for my drive to work.
I mean, in a way, it's also like you're learning. It's some real life lore in a way, right?
Yeah. You know, and I'm like checking off the boxes. I'm like, you know, oh, do I do that? Am I? Never mind.
Oh
like,
no!
You know, I'll hear about a serial killer and I'll be like, I bet he hard swaps.
He hard swaps. That guy hard swaps. This guy hard swaps so hard.
Yeah, he's pretty much a war criminal for that.
Please.
All right, so what would you say you have learned from streaming that you can translate to real life?
Oh wow. I would say that I've always been a guy that's been comfortable in my own skin. But I think streaming has made that even more of the case. It's like learning to like laugh at your flaws as a person and learning to have that joy and excitement for the big, medium, and the small things, you know? Kind of being a little have that kid-like joy again. I think streaming has made that easier.
I feel like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What about you?
For me, I guess it's the self-confidence thing, yeah. I guess it's like, it's kind of reeled me back a little bit. You know, in real life, like what we're talking about, like with upbringing and stuff, like always, for me at least, you know, always feel like I'm not getting attention and stuff, and I think that streaming has kind of reeled me down, kind of knocked me down a peg, and made me realize, like, you know, not everything needs to be about you. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Speaking about, you know, drawing attention. So I, you know, like, I have drinking beer out of a work boot on stream. I have said very horrible things to people on stream. I have made a fool of myself for attention on stream, but there is one thing that I don't think I would ever be able to do, for attention, and that's stare at a fucking wall for an hour. And I have to ask you, like, what goes through your mind when you're going through that segment? What gives you the motivation to keep going? Because I don't think I would be able to do that.
I think the reason why I like it, because it's like, so actually what gave me the idea to do it in the first place was, I remember one of the things that made Mr. Beast so famous before he like became this guy that's like, yo, I gave this homeless guy $20 million, like, or whatever. Like, before he was that guy, one of the things that made him famous was he would just sit there and he would be like, I'm saying Jake Paul 100,000 times on camera, and there's videos of him like sitting there for it's like a literally a 10-hour video of him just sitting there saying like Jake Paul over and over again and shit like that, right? And he would just do these big endurance tests, and he's actually still doing that today. In that, like I buried myself in the ground for 7 days, and it sucked, right? It's just these interesting things that it's like, damn, that's crazy that anyone would do that. Not necessarily that I was like, I want people to think I'm the Mr. Beast of Twitch or anything like that. But it was more or less like the soul was there, in that it's like I think Twitch at its best is like when it's like television in a way, right?
Yeah.
You know, it is Evil Knievel gonna complete that stunt? Is, you know, like whatever happens, you know, I want people to be able to have a little piece of something that I do and just have something that they find maybe interesting to talk about. Like a good example was like I did my wall, my most recent wall, like yesterday, 2 days ago or whatever, right?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Yeah, and that was like Kat did it, like directly after like I get like one of the bigger raids I've had in my life. And not only that, from like a new guy that's like never done it before, you know, took a chance on me. And it's like, I could have said, fuck that, like I'm gonna just, you know, hang out and not worry about the wall. But I was like, no, like I want my people to have my promise kept that I'm gonna give them some shit. You know, if you're here long enough for 100,000 channel points, you know, damn it, you've earned that wall, and I want you to have it.
Hey, you know, Kat earned that wall, especially in moments like this, where we just gank the ever-living shit out of him. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. No, but I just I'm always thinking of ways that I can just have something that maybe people would want to talk about. And it's not necessarily like I need the attention or whatever. I know my online persona would have people fooled in that way. It's more or less, I just like my whole life is predicated on one thing, is that I just want to have stories.
Yeah.
I want to be on that deathbed, and I want to have like funny, ridiculous stories, and I could say that, you know, like I could die tomorrow. I could be like, damn, I have wasted 8 hours of my life staring at a wall. Damn, that was funny. Like it just makes me laugh, right? You know, and that's the only thing that matters, right?
No, I totally understand that sentiment, because sometimes I'm like in a situation where I want to come up with a good, like, funny story, like a good anecdote, you know, something to break the ice or to make people feel relaxed, and I'm just like, damn, I'm at a loss here, you know? So it totally makes sense. Like, because what is a life but a collection of stories?
Yeah. It's like, and I am an idiot, and I want those collection of stories to be weird. I've chosen weird as my path. That's what, so it gives me a goal that I never thought I would,
Hey, and weird is kind of in, right?
Yeah,
You know,
well, that's
like,
the thing, and like that's never been like even like not it's not even been like a stream thing, because it's like the swimming in the floodwaters, and it's like I could have easily said no. I mean, I put my fucking life in danger, you know.
Yeah.
A chick asked me to go skydiving with her as a first date. I said yes. I'm fucking terrified of heights. Like it's I want to have like I took my ex-girlfriend to reality television court, you know.
That's a story we haven't actually touched on.
Yeah, I just have stuff that I just be doing stuff, and then one day it's all gonna be over, and I can.
But you
look
could
back
say
and be
that
like,
you've
"Damn,
done
that was
stuff.
crazy."
Actually, how was that experience, like, truly, for you?
Ooh, that was a very oh god. It was that was such a fun experience. That was like, dude, I love being on television. And I'm realize that I'm saying this, and that I have main character syndrome.
Hey, we all do.
Which is
we're
which is a
Twitch
problem.
We're Twitch streamers.
That's
all
true.
right?
We do press live. We do press live.
It's a prerequisite, okay?
You're not wrong. But I'll be a crab shack, by the way. So how that story happened was I didn't need. So I bought my house, and I was looking for furniture. And that same chick that I did the skydiving thing with, she wants to get into film. That's like when we started dating. That was like a thing that we connected on. She actually works in like television and stuff like that. And she was a producer on that show. Show's called Relative Justice. The idea is that relatives can sue each other, and they can, and that doesn't necessarily have to be relatives, because they let me and my ex in, because it can also be like ex-girlfriend and stuff like that. So basically, we'll do chick 1 is the producer chick 2 is the is the ex. We'll just say ex, actually.
Okay.
But basically, chick 1 was like, hey, I'm a producer on this show, and I was instructed that we need more local talent. And I was like, okay. And she's like, you're, I think, insane. Do you have any enemies? And I'm like, tons of them. Like, what do you need? And so she was just like, okay, would anybody want to sue you over anything? And I was like, not that I know of, but I love making up shit, so why not? So I was looking around for people to do this with. I didn't initially think of my ex. I was even I was gonna like fabricate some wild story or whatever, because I was like, I just want my story on this show to be weird. But then the guy that I was gonna do it with, I was gonna have him be like my cousin or whatever. He's like, oh shit, I can't go on it. I'm like, damn it, I gotta think of somebody. And then I thought of this one story about how I stole professional hockey tickets from my ex-girlfriend. And I was like, oh damn, that's actually like, I was like, I don't even have to make up a story, because that shit actually happened. I did that. So what had happened was my ex that I dated on and off throughout college, she was like, she was, it was kind of weird. It was like she was like chasing me, and then I started chasing her, and we were just really toxic for each other. And like didn't want to claim one another, but like we were also kind of exclusive, but kind of not. It was really, we were confused. And anyways, we were in one of those off periods, and I was exploring my options as a young, spry, lad in college. What else is out there in the world, right? I've been dating this one chick for a long time. Maybe I wanted something a little bit more, So we're in this off period, but she's like, hey, I want to take you and some of your friends to like a pro hockey game. I'm like, okay. She's trying to win my love, and damn it, it's working. So we go there, and the practice shots for the warm-up for the games are happening. All the players are just shooting, shots on goal, whatever. And one of the players hits he rips a shot so hard on goal that it ricochets off of the top bar and then bounces over the 50-foot nets that they have there. So we would never get hit by, hockey pucks. It was just perfect, like, geometry. Goes over there, and I'm the only one that sees this thing coming. And I'm just like, oh, I can catch this hockey puck and give it to the girl. Do that thing that you do at, like, baseball games, right? Catch the ball, give it to a significant other, look really badass.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I'm going to do this with a hockey puck. This is a first, I'm sure. And basically that happens, and the only difference is that I didn't catch the hockey puck because I'm unathletic. And so it bounces off my fingers, and it hits her in the head, and she sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm just sorry I'm dying. So she gets she starts bleeding immediately from this hockey puck hitting her in the skull. Just gushing blood. We take her out. We notify like the owners of the stadium, and they're like, yeah, they're like, hey, we're gonna call an ambulance and shit for you. We're so sorry. We're so sorry. And so she, as like the ambulance are getting there and shit like that, they're like, hey, we're so sorry that you couldn't watch the game because again, this is the warm-ups. This is before it started. They're like, come back on us. Box seats, tickets on us. It was basically like a please don't sue us package.
Yeah. The settle out of court package. It comes full circle. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, yeah. So that game happens, and about I think 4 months pass, and she still didn't redeem the tickets. I knew that she didn't because I called the stadium. And I'm like, hey, are the tickets under blah blah blah's name? They were her name. I was like, are they still available? And they're like, yep. And I'm like, okay, there's like 2 weeks left in the season. Maybe she's just afraid of hockey pucks or something. I don't know. Like, you know, like as like I don't think she's gonna use them. So enough time had passed in these 4 months that I started talking to a new chick. Not only was I talking to a new chick, I was talking to a chick that the ex-girlfriend hated.
Oh shit. Okay. All right.
Yeah. And new chick was like, I want to go to a hockey game. And I was just like,
I'm gonna let my gaze show for a second here and say, oh sweetie, you fucked up.
exactly. And she's like, I want to go to a game, and I was like, well, you bring 3 of your friends. We're gonna go box seats because I got it like that. And here's the thing. I went up to the box office with her and her friends. This was a complete gamble. I didn't know at the time if they still had the tickets. I called ahead like 2 weeks earlier than when I went. But if they were taken for whatever reason, unbeknownst to me, then I would have had to shell out the money for those fucking seats. Thank God, I go up, I like run ahead of the group, and I like whisper the name, and like, they're like, oh yeah, here's your 5 tickets, and I was like, yes! Let's go. So I get the tickets. We go. We have a fantastic time. And literally, this was like the weekend after. So this was like over the weekend, and then the following weekend, there was like a big tailgate at my college, and this chick in front of like, so I was in a fraternity, and she was in a sorority that like they were like close with each other and shit.
Dude, you would be in a fraternity. Why did I never think that you were a frat boy?
Here's the thing. I'm not gonna lie. When I went into college, I said I will never join a fraternity. I was that guy. But the college that I went to was join a fraternity or something of the nature, or literally do not have fun.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
It was one of those where it was like, I can join that or like the computer club.
Actually, I have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
If you had to count every bandana and beanie that you own, what would be the final count?
Not including hats?
Yeah, let's throw hats in there too. Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm up to like 20 or so.
Oh, that's not so bad. I have more shoes than that.
Okay, that's hell yeah.
I was just curious.
Why is that?
I don't know. You seem to have good fashion sense.
Oh.
But I still think of you as a frat boy, so like you got good frat boy fashion sense.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I hit that stereotype, don't I? Damn it. Fuck.
But in a good way. In a good way. You're like one of the frat boys.
You're one of the good ones.
You're one of the good. You're one of the good frat boys. Yeah, yeah. All right, I'm gonna derail this conversation. And like, do you ever think about the fact that like everybody we know in this platform like is a fucking nerd? Like, do you ever think about that? You know, like I would go into a stream, right, and I'm like, oh, this guy's really cool and stuff, and then I'd think about it a little bit more and be like, no, he's good at Elden Ring. This guy's a fucking nerd.
I think of that all the time. Actually, not all the time, but like I think of that more than probably one would or should. Because I was talking about this actually the other day, where it was like, if you're, I was like, even if we make it as like, let's say we become 5, 10, 20,000 concurrent viewer Andes, right? We're balling, like people know our name. We're like, you know, Twitch celebrity famous or whatever. I was like, even if you reach all of those things, it doesn't matter.
No.
Like, you're still kind of a loser in terms of how the world sees you.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. That kind of, I used to have this, like, first-time chatter anxiety. Where, you know, I'd go into the stream as somebody who I thought was really cool, and I was like, oh god, what do I say? And then I realized, oh wait, they're really good at this game. They're probably just as socially awkward as I am.
I love that so much. Probably just as, yeah. I mean, statistically speaking, you know, it's. I think you're not wrong there. You know, it's like
yeah.
Here's the thing though. That's why I was so mind blown about Storm, right?
Dude, Storm is a fucking Hulk, okay?
He's an Adonis of a human being, and I watched his first stream, and I was watching him perfect block in hard swap, and I was like, no shot, this is not real.
Yeah, because he's
like,
good at the game.
You're not allowed to do that.
And he's like a next level human, so.
Yeah, I know, and he's a nice guy too. I know. I was like,
and he's super nice, dude. He's so fucking nice. Adonis of a human, dude. That is such a good fucking term. I gotta start using that.
He is though. He's so.
No, Storm is cool as hell. And he, like honestly, like when I first saw his like profile picture, I was like, Harvey, or not Harvey. I almost said Harvey. I almost said Harvey Keitel.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill. Okay, yeah.
Because that dude, and also Vin Diesel. You know, like they're fucking insanely attractive, very athletic men who are very talented and also good people who are also.
Did you say Vin Diesel's attractive?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
I don't know, but were you me when Pitch Black came out? Like, I don't know.
Pitch Black? I don't think I've seen that.
Or like Chronicles of Riddick. Like, you haven't seen Pitch Black?
Hold on, Chronicles of Riddick. I'm looking at that one. Images.
Maybe I'm thinking of the Riddicking.
Okay, he looks better in this. I'm just thinking of Fast and Furious Vin Diesel, where he, you know, he's just there to get a paycheck, you know?
No. Chronicles of Riddick, Vin Diesel is peak Vin Diesel, okay?
Okay.
And he is... Alright, he's a hero for the nerds of our world. Because he too, like Henry Cavill, is a fan of D&D and video games. And
is he really?
Nerding out over shit like that. Yeah.
I didn't know that about him. That makes him so much better now.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. That makes him so much better. Alright.
That's something I really like about Henry Cavill, you know? He's a Hulk of a man. He's got a very strong jawline. He's pretty much Superman personified, but that dude also super fucking nerdy.
Yeah.
You know? Like when he
that's
played
why, like,
when he played Geralt.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like hearing him fight with the showrunners, that you know, like he's like, you guys aren't being close enough to the source material, and he got fired over it. Yeah. I was like, dude, that guy will never not be praised by the nerd community after that one. He lost his job to protect the source material. My fucking dude.
What a fucking guy, you know? What a fucking dude, guy.
What a guy, dude.
What a guy, dude. Alright, when it comes to the photography industry for you, who are your inspirations? Like, who's a photographer that you can look at their work and be like, I want to emulate that, but I want to do it better, or I want to do it my way, but...
God, what is his name? I don't want to get his name wrong here, but there's a guy that actually so there's two people that come to mind. One of them is his name is Jake Guzman. I've actually had the pleasure of being able to meet him before, but he's basically, if you've ever wanted to know what the most beautiful parts of like Seattle, Montana, the Dolomites of Italy.
oh my god, I want to go there.
Yeah, this guy captures nature like no other person, and it's truly breathtaking. And also like Iceland and stuff like that. Just some of these incredibly beautiful areas. I want to. So Jake Guzman, but I want to get the other guy's name right because it's been a minute. Frick. I can't remember. It's gonna get back to me.
You know what?
Ben Strauss. Ben Strauss.
Ben Strauss. Okay.
Ben Strauss. Yes.
I'm thinking I'm gonna wrap things up here.
Okay.
For the last like 8 minutes here that we got, I wanted to ask you, like, what do you have coming up? What are your plugs? What are things that you want people to know about that are going on in this community? That, as much as that has kind of become a meme in the last 8 months, calling this a community, but it is, and I love every single fucking person here, and I've truly grown to like just like want to be fully immersed in this actual community of people, no matter who they are. What do you want to let everybody know, and what kind of things do you have coming up that you want people to know about?
Yes. So as far as things go in the Souls community, I think something that is direly lacking right now is group content. So when you asked me to do this today, I was really fucking pumped for it because I don't really see a lot of people doing collabs, but it doesn't even necessarily have to be like a one-on-one collab or anything like that, but just like trying to get the community together, you know, for whatever it is, whether it's for in a day, an event, whatever it is, whether it's just, you know, Taunters tonguing or whatever it is, you know, because there's been like charity events and stuff that have all happened. Basically, we have the people, and seeing everyone kind of. I'd love just to see more communication and acknowledgement, like, because that's funny, right? Because I think while not live, people like we all know and talk to each other. Mm-hmm. Like anyone can talk to it, like DM another streamer, be like, "Yo, hey, what's up?" And they're probably like, "Yo, like A, I know who you are, and B, you know, like I'll answer your question or whatever it is, you know." Like no one's not approachable, and I think like the connections are there. I just wish that it was leveraged a little bit more, and that kind of leads into what I was going to say with other stuff that's to come is that I have some group related things that I want to be doing, some bigger ideas. I know like the Amazing Race idea, you know, that you had, right? That's perfect. I want to see more stuff like that.
I'm really hoping that kicks off. I'm gonna try and shoot for next year once DLC's out.
Yeah, whenever it happens, or if it doesn't happen at all, and you think of something else or whatever, like that doesn't matter. Like that concept was great. It was thinking outside of the box. It was enjoying. It was just bringing the joy of the game with other content creators that are all essentially doing the same thing of just bringing the joy of the game with their community. But like doing that together as like a group, as like a family. Because when I came into this shit, when I came into being, again, I said I was gonna do variety content, but then I had a week off where like my basement flooded and I was forced to not stream and I had to talk to people for a week. And I'm like, damn, everyone's so nice and welcoming and they are just treating me so well being here. I was like, I don't want that spark to die. I get it. We're going through rough times, but like I still think there's something there. So that's that. And as far as like specific stuff that I got going on, yeah, there's not much that I could say. You know, obviously everyone's eyes on tomorrow. Eyes on tomorrow for the DLC.
Yeah, you're gonna be streaming the Game Awards tomorrow, right?
Yeah. I'll be streaming that, and we'll see what comes of it. But yeah, I mean, really, as far as like if we're treating this like a sign off, yeah.
Well, okay. You've also got your YouTube channel. Everybody watch his fucking feet invasion video. It's amazing. Do yourself that favor right now. Like, come on, I'm gonna plug it for you.
Yeah. I thank you for saying that. Actually, I guess that is kind of an update. My YouTube channel did just get to the point where I'm now able to make money off of it, and so that's another income source that I am happy to say I have, and a lot of it's due by the efforts of others. So I'm thankful for that, and yeah.
So I've recently I've started putting up flyers in my hometown with your face on it, with the URL to your Twitch channel and your YouTube. Are you okay with that? Are you okay? Like, do you condone that? Should I have other people do that?
That's perfectly fine. I like the grassroots efforts. That's
okay.
What makes the difference.
All right. Yeah, I've been selling potatoes that have your face on them, and that's been cool.
Oh my gosh, dude.
No, I really appreciate you doing this for me. I appreciate all of you lovely fucking lurkers and shatters who have been hanging out here tonight. I had a lot of fun. Did you have a good time? Was it worth your time?
Oh, today was great. As the person with main character syndrome, it's always great to hear yourself speak. But it was, it's nice to actually, I love the concept of this. It's nice to be able to just talk like humans, because there's more, a lot of Souls people don't realize this, but there's more to life than just Souls. And I'm one of those people that doesn't subscribe to that necessarily, but I can still talk the talk at least a little bit.
You talk the talk, you walk the walk. You are the king of the rats, and honestly, that's not as derogatory of a term as it might seem, alright? Because the rats are fucking plenty, and they are fucking powerful. Now, I gotta ask you, is there a certain person that is streaming tonight that you think we should give all these lovely, lovely people in chat to?
Oh, man. Just looking at the list here, the first person that jumps out at me is Rust. But he started before you. I don't know how much longer he's going.
Is Rust still going? Let's fucking... Dude, Rust is a trooper.
420. He just hit 420. Big 420.
You know that I love Rust Bucket. And you guys, as much as I love Monty's YouTube content, I've learned more from Rust's. Sorry, Monty.
That's true. This next individual will have you playing the game.
And his videos are also great to send to people who don't know how to play the game. Monty, I thank you so much. Everybody, go give itsMontage a follow right now. Can we get a fucking shout out for this guy here? Can I call you Its? Is that okay? Or
that's fine. That's the first name.
All right. Yeah, first name. Let's let's all follow its. I'm sure all of you all already do. We have a lot of overlap, and I'm not that big.
Literally number one overlap is you and I. Or at least for me, for my statistics.
Yeah, y'all have a great night. Thanks for hanging. I hope you learned something. And let's go say hi to Rust and cheer him on collecting these bounties. Fuck you.
Bye, guys.